Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order, and council are all present, and we'll do the land acknowledgement. The municipality of Dysart acknowledges that we are on the traditional territory known as the Williams Treaty First Nations, which includes Curve Lake, Hiawatha, Alderville, Scugog Island, Rama, Boswell, and Georgina First Nations. And we thank these nations for their care and stewardship as they pass through these lands. And have a resolution to adopt the agenda.
Sure. Be it resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of council of the municipality of Dysart et al. Held on March 26, 2024 be approved as presented.
Mover and seconder, Nancy and Tammy, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, disclosures of pecuniary interest, any? Being none, adoption of the minutes.
Be it resolved that council approves the February 27, 2024 regular council meeting minutes as circulated.
Mover and seconder, Pat and Walt, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, next is the, we've got to go into the public meeting, so we need a resolution to adopt that.
Okay. Be it resolved that council hereby adjourns the regular meeting of council at 9:01 a.m. to proceed into a public meeting to consider zoning bylaw amendment files D14-ZB-2023-11 and D14-ZB-2023-12 lands of Smart and Smart Fine Holdings Incorporated.
You've heard the resolution, mover and seconder. Barry and Carm, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Now, this is a little bit, I think another time if we could put this on the agenda just before we do the building, all the bylaws, because we got all these people here and they're waiting. This is a fairly long process, and you just bear with me here. Good morning and welcome. The public meeting for March 26th will now come to order, and notice all those in attendance that this meeting will be live streamed on YouTube and recorded. Please note the recording will be linked to the municipal website. The purpose of the public meeting is to present planning applications in a planning forum as required as the Planning Act. There's a public meeting to consider two proposed zoning amendments to the Dysart et al. Zoning Bylaw 2005-120. It's council's responsibility to consider all information received to date regarding the applications and to hear and consider any views you may have about these applications. Every person present or registered will have the opportunity to ask questions about the proposals and voice their opinion regarding same. Please state your name and your relation to the application prior to speaking. Each person will have up to 5 minutes to provide comments or ask questions. Please direct all your questions and comments to the chair. Please restrict your comments to planning matters only. After this public meeting is over, council will make a recommendation as to whether or not the proposed zoning amendment should be passed. Council's recommendations will then be considered during the regular meeting of council. Once council has made a decision on the proposed amendment, notice will be circulated as per the Planning Act. All those persons who have given the municipality written notice that they would like to receive notice of the decision will receive a copy of the decision. You must take this request in writing to the municipality. The Planning Act specifies that if a person or body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the municipality before the proposed bylaw, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the municipality to the Ontario Land Tribunal and may not be added as a party to the appeal unless the opinion of the tribunal there are reasonable grounds to do so. So we will now commence the public meeting as per the agenda. The two applicants on the agenda are file number D14 ZB 2023-11 and D14 ZB 2023-12 lands of Smart and Smart 5 Holdings. Now the manager of planning will give a brief overview of the purpose and effect of the proposed bylaw. Jeff or Chris?
Nope. That's me. Thank you, everyone, and good morning. So this is for item 2A on the agenda. The zoning is a condition of the concurrent severance application for the subject property that will implement the requirements of the supporting environmental studies related to the severance and zone the properties for their intended use. The retained property known as 1077 Nels Trail currently has a total of 4 accessory structures, when 3 accessory structures are permitted. The owner would like these structures to remain on the property and have added this request to the zoning application for council's consideration. To note, 3 of the accessory structures are set back beyond the 30 meters from the lake and are well screened, which meet the intent of the municipal policies. The fourth accessory building is a private cabin, which is within the 30-meter setback. The private cabin was assessed in 1968 and does meet the intent of the municipal policy for legal non-complying structure. Staff also note that based on the survey completed for the severance, there appears to be an existing septic system which is located on the proposed severed lands. The septic system services the existing seasonal dwelling of the retained lands known as 1077 Nels Trail. Given this, the owner is required to submit a septic permit application to the municipal building department in order to move the septic system onto the property in which it services. Further, there are 2 existing shipping containers located on the subject property known as 1077 Nels Trail on the retained lands. Through discussion with the owners, the shipping containers will be removed from the property. Circulation of the application was done as per the requirements of the Planning Act, and as writing of this report, no comments have been received.
That's it, Chris?
Yeah, and then the recommendation is, given that the information outlined in the report, unless council has any questions, it is recommended that council approve the bylaw as provided. And I believe the owners, Michelle and Paul Smart, are in attendance this morning and can speak to the application and address any questions that council has.
Would the Smarts like to comment? Do you want to come up the front then?
Don't really have comments to that. Yeah, we just came to answer questions.
Okay, okay. So the third extra building, you're recommending that then? The storage building or whatever it is? It's a wood, I think it's a wood shed, I think they did.
That's correct. So the 4 that that are on the property, staff have reviewed, and as it meets the policies of the official plan and municipal policies for being screened and set back, staff had no issues with it.
Okay, any discussion by council? Everybody's okay with that? Okay, any public comments from people present? Is there anyone here who wants to address this proposal, except the owners? No, obviously not. Okay, this concludes the public comment portion of the meeting. And if council has any further questions related to this application, seeing none. Okay, this concludes public meeting file D14 ZB 2023-11 and D14 ZB 2023-12 lands of Smart and Smart 5 Holdings. We will now adjourn to regular council.
I'll read the public meeting resolution first here. So be it resolved that file numbers D14-ZB 2023-11 and D14-ZB 2023-12 for the lands of Smart, which consist of part lots 8 and 9, concession 8, parts 1 to 3, registered plan 19R-3957, part 9, registered plan -19R 3776, part lot 9, concession 8, parts 4 to 8, registered plan 19R-3957 in the geographic township of Dudley, municipality of Dysart et al. Be received for information. And that council directs that a bylaw be brought forward for consideration during its March 26, 2024 regular meeting, and that council recommend that the bylaw be approved.
Okay, mover and seconder, Nancy and Carm, all in favor? Carried, thank you.
Okay, and then I'll do the adjournment. So
Go
be it
ahead.
resolved that council hereby adjourns the public meeting at 9:09 a.m. and reconvenes the regular meeting of council.
Mover and seconder. Barry and Walt, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, general delegations. Greg Brown. Morning.
Morning, everyone. Probably remember this map that I brought a few
Yep.
times, it's right at the bottom of what you have.
Greg, I don't know if your mic's on.
How's that?
That's better. Thank you.
Okay. So the reason for my being here this morning is to answer any questions, but primarily I'm asking that the township accept a letter of credit from a bank to cover the security that that Dysart currently has at the subdivision. That security is in the form of $100,000 in cash that has accumulated over the last 30 years from our business, our company, and a further 4 lots that are on that map in the northwestern corner of the property, and those have been held as security. And my reason for asking for this this displacement for a bank note in place of this other security is so that I can put money together to complete the roads and the underground hydro that is well underway. I haven't heard back from hydro, and I don't really know when I'll hear, but I suspect it would be within, hopefully 2 or 3 months, if not 2 or 3 weeks. And that will clear the way for the excavation that'll have to take place for the underground hydro right from basically Keith Hodson's property, if you know that, where that is, right through to the municipal property on the west side, and then down the Brookchart Run Road across the creek to lot 20, where we have the end of the previous underground hydro that was provided last year. Obviously, this is a lot of money. I would say probably over 300,000 for the hydro alone. And at least 100,000 of it, I'm hoping, might be freed up by way of the cash returned to me from Dysart, but being replaced by this bank note. I think that's all. I think there's probably more details in the report that you have there.
Well, certainly the letter of credit is acceptable. That's not an issue. Jeff, do you have any comments on this?
Thank you. Nope, just outline that request to exchange a letter of credit for the remaining lots in cash that are currently held, that does comply with the subdivision agreement. So based on that direction, staff recommend approval of this request.
Okay, any questions from council? How are you making out with the first phase? Did you get the engineering done?
I understood from Dysart that all the roads have to be brought up before you would accept that, because it says 3 different places that I'm aware of, and I think Jeff pointed it out over the last year, that it actually says all the roads, all the roads, all the roads. So, and I only had half of it
Right.
ready. I had, as I mentioned within the past year here, that I had an engineering firm, something like KPG or something, over Collingwood Way, ready to come and do it. He's actually contacted me again to find out where I'm at, but at this point in time, I won't have an engineering group come until it's ready to do all the drainage plan and all the, all that's needed for the final report.
Oh, I was under the understanding that once you bought a section to standard that we could assume it.
I'm sorry, Murray, I understood that that's not necessarily a given because of that word all that
Okay.
it recurs about 3 times. I'd love to have half of it
Yeah,
assumed,
I'm sure you would.
but anyway, that's that was my hesitation, and so I backed away from that.
I guess, I don't know how we can get a comment on that. I'm not sure that we couldn't do that without the all, but anyway.
Okay. Well, I mean, anything in this agreement can be agreed to,
Yeah.
from what I understand in it. As long as we all agree, we can do that. But I didn't have that agreement certainly before now. I haven't clarified that with Dysart.
Okay. Well, okay, I think that we'll get clarification on that today and get back to you, and hopefully that's positive.
Yeah,
And then we can deal with the issue ahead of that. Now, you have another request, just to release the security. That's part of the same request.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
part of the total being $180,000, because there's 4 lots there valued in the agreement at 20,000 each, so that's 80,000 plus 100,000 cash.
Yeah.
And that will enhance several things. I mean, it's all to do with the bank, but if they have 4 more lots, then
Yeah.
I can get more money for everything
Fair
else.
enough. That's the way things work.
Yeah,
Well, that's good, Greg. We'll get that clarified today and get back to you with a file.
appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
For your hard work.
Okay. Do we have a resolution?
Yep, I'll read it now. Be it resolved that upon payment of all outstanding taxes and fees, along with all legal costs and disbursements of the municipality for the herein contemplated transfer, council agrees to release to the developer lots 32, 33, 34, and 35, Plan 6, 37 in the geographic township of Dysart, presently held as security under the subdivision agreement in exchange for a letter of credit of sufficient value to cover the outstanding securities in accordance with subdivision agreement. The mayor and clerk are hereby authorized to execute documents relating to the release of lots 32, 33, 34, and 35 in Plan 637.
Okay, you've heard that resolution. Mover and seconder. Nancy and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay. Okay, and this next is that going to be a Zoom meeting or? Well, they're here. Okay. So I assume we've got Jason Noseworthy here.
Yep, that's correct. Good morning.
Okay. Okay, I'll just turn it over to you to comment. You're requesting, first of all, there's a signed committee, which will have to review this. We might have a couple of questions at the end if you want to go ahead and tell us.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Jason Noseworthy. I'm with Priority Permits. I'm representing A&W Canada in regards to our signed variance application for 10 Hops Drive.
Can't hear you very well.
Oh, my apologies. Is that a little better there? Okay, yeah. So I'm representing A&W Canada regarding the proposed sign variance for the A&W restaurant at 10 Hops Drive. So A&W is proposing a logo sign and a Burger Family mascot on the east elevation, which is oriented towards the parking lot and away from the street. They're also proposing a logo sign and 3 poster panels at the south elevation. Facing. I've got my notes all mixed up there. Yeah, so sorry. They're also proposing at the south elevation the A&W logo and Home of the Burger Family letters. And then that's facing towards County Road 124. And then on the west elevation, facing towards the drive-through and towards Hops Drive, they're proposing 1 more A&W logo and 3 poster panels. Now the signs are in line with A&W's brand standards across Canada, This is a pretty standard proposal for them. They have the very specific standards with what they want to see on their buildings. This is pretty much exactly what was recommended from A&W Corporate. And these signs are pre-built sign types, so they're not custom signs. So they are, you know, very specific in size and shape and content. And so hopefully that provides a little bit of clarity on what we're looking for here.
Any questions for Jason? You're asking for, I think it's 16 signs there. The one that comes to mind that's a problem is the one on County Road 21. And the county will need to approve that. And do you have an entrance approval for where you're coming out there?
I'm not sure for the actual site approvals. I believe that the entry is already in place there, but we do already have county approvals in place for all of these signs, so we have a permit from the county already.
But I mean, does A&W have an entrance permit to get on 21?
That I'm not sure. I believe their entry is onto Hops Drive. So.
Well, Hops Drive isn't a provincial road, and it doesn't
Yep.
change the fact that you need an approved entrance. So
Yeah.
you're not going, on your property, you're not going off 21 on any location. You're going off on Hops Drive, which is a private drive, and you're coming out on Hops Drive. Have I got that right?
Yes.
Boy, somebody slipped there. So you have no opportunity to get out to Mallard Road or get any freedom from that single little road?
I do have a site plan here. I'm not sure if I can
Oh,
share
no,
my
you have a
screen.
site plan. But obviously somebody didn't look at it. Anyway, if you should proceed to the county now and make sure you have an entrance permit and their approval for a sign. And we will forward this to, if we don't have a sign committee, we may not have appointed one, we will. And there is one.
So Murray, I can explain that. When this term of council started, the sign committee became council. So council is the approval authority for signs, for anything that goes against basically the sign bylaw or any exemptions.
Okay.
So,
An opportunity to discuss that later then. That's good.
so does council want to make a decision on this file or?
I think we need some discussion on it. Go ahead.
Okay.
So, so the road sign, I think, like you said, Murray, is the most concern. Most of the other signs are attached to the building, right?
That's right.
And, also there's the drive-through, sign, which we've all seen 1,000 times when we go through fast food place. But the road sign, so on your site plan there, does it show the exact location of where that road sign would be?
Yes, so the road sign is set back 10.85 meters from the property line along County Road 124.
And what I'm looking at on your thing here, so the sign that I'd be looking at is, number 15, is that right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
And yeah, I mean, so the bottom portion of the sign would be almost 10 feet off ground level then.
Yeah, 3 meters. That's why we need some time to discuss it. And you also need to get the county's approval for that, you know that.
Yeah, so we do already have permits from the county.
You do?
Yep.
Yeah.
You get that?
Sorry, no, the only one, sorry, we have permits from the county for all signs except for sign 15. So sign 15 is more likely not going to pursue, as I know there are stipulations in the bylaw that they have to have a multi-tenant sign for a multi-tenant site. So we are aware of that, but sign 15 is unlikely to be approved, so.
So the county has asked businesses in there to put all this on one sign, same as the brewer's retail is, right?
Yeah, that's correct,
You're
yeah.
not doing that, you're doing your own then?
Currently it's proposed as a single pylon sign for A&W, so there are no other tenants on there. So we are aware that that's not likely to be approved, and we're more so looking for approvals for the signs on the building and the remaining signs on the lot, which are in excess of the maximum
I
allowance in the bylaw.
understand.
So you guys are okay then if you don't have that sign 15 then? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, ultimately, you know, we understand that, you know, there are other tenants in the same lot that will need advertising, and it might be a little bit better of a situation for the property owner to pursue a multi-tenant pylon sign where A&W can have a panel on said sign.
Okay, thank you.
Well, but we need to discuss, further, I think. Well, in light of the fact that, we need to know that you have an entrance approval for those buildings in there, those, development, I think, that's pretty critical, so, but we will move forward. We'll try not to hold you up. You're making, I don't see you working down there very much. Anyway, that's your problem.
Murray, do you want me to read a resolution to defer for now? Is that what you'd like to do?
Please.
Okay, be it resolved that council defers the request for relief from the sign bylaw from A&W priority permits.
Okay, mover and seconder. Barry and Walt, all in favor? Carry. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, next, Pamela. I'm not trying to rush you, but we have a long agenda.
I know,
I
I'll
mean,
be
Stay
quick.
within the timelines, Pamela.
Yep, absolutely. Just waiting for my, you see the color of my folder here? Bright orange. Going to speak to you about the caboose. I'm just waiting for the presentation to come up on your
Okay.
screen. In the meantime, thank you, Mr. Mayor, Councillor, staff, and audience for your attention. I'm here to speak to you about the Caboose Community Bike Hub. I'm Pamela Marcels, Chair of Friends of the Rail Trail. And I bring regrets from the manager of the Algonquin Outfitter store, Howell Lee, who was to be with me here today, but has to be at the Huntsville store today. He's on another committee that relates to this and supports this project. Can we get that presentation up, Mallory?
Yeah, I believe we have to promote someone here in order to get that done. Are you working on that, Lori?
Yeah, she's gone out to look up.
Okay. So just one moment.
Yeah, we have it, so if you want,
Okay. I just thought it'd be nice for anyone watching at home to be able to see it online.
yeah, right.
While we're waiting, I could just ask this council if you're aware of the active transportation planning project that's happening in the community. Anyway, we'll come to that. Here we go. The Caboose Community Bike Hub. Next slide, please. This brings an underutilized community asset, an innovative idea for repurpose, together with a timely funding opportunity and engaged project partners and expertise. The idea is to make use of our heritage CNR railway caboose while encouraging more cycling by more people in Dysart and the village of Haliburton. It would be a community collaborative with Dysart as lead applicant for a Ontario Trillium, sorry, next, we missed the last slide there. Not watching what you're doing. There we go. We can go to the next slide now, please. The seed grants, they're basically for a pilot program to try something new out for up to 1 year. If they're successful, the proponent can then apply for a GROW grant from Trillium to continue the project for up to 3 years. Next slide, please. Our caboose currently sits sad and forlorn in the Village Welcome Center parking area. This could be a 1-year low-risk trial to give it a new purpose. Although this particular grant doesn't cover capital expenses, the project would raise heritage awareness and we would we have proponents in the community that are keen to kickstart a Paint the Caboose campaign and bring it back to its glory. Here's an example of a Thunder Bay CNR caboose. The Community Bike Hub is simply a welcoming space where people can learn more about cycling, meet other people who cycle, and go cycling together. I'm not going to read all that text there. You have it in your program, but I will finish off this slide by saying that kids can learn about bikes within a confidence-building social context. Next slide, please. And children's bike skills learned young last a lifetime. The location of the caboose is ideally situated adjacent to Head Lake Park, which would be an ideal setting for skills workshops for children. Next slide, please. And the way this would help adults is by providing social connections based on a common interest, helping people to stay motivated. So if you think of your curling club, golf course, or hockey team, this is how it helps you stay active and keen to do something that is a recreational opportunity or an everyday activity with friends and people you meet. So the Real Easy Rider Cycling Club supports this project. They're a great motivator for recreational riding, but this particular project would foster everyday biking to in-town errands. And the buzzword for that these days is active transportation that reduces car traffic congestion in our village, which I think we could all agree we could do well to reduce some congestion. So think of hopping on a bike every day to go to the library, farmer's market, meet friends for coffee, or get yourself to appointments. A bike hub serves as a meeting place to share knowledge and concerns about the safest cycling routes, where and how to securely lock up your bike, or just how to carry your groceries. Next slide, please. This is just an overview of the current project, which is underway right now with a consultant. This project was spearheaded by Friends of the Rail Trail with a presentation to the previous council here before the election. And at that time, we knew the project was coming on stream with the federal government through Infrastructure Canada, but the actual applications had not been open at that time. The council then approved it in principle for staff and Friends of the Rail Trail to collaborate on putting in the application. In that case, it was for a federal planning grant through Infrastructure Canada. And in this case, so Dysart acted as lead applicant. In this case, it would be a provincial grant, the Ontario Trillium Program, which is just coming back on stream after a hiatus for COVID. We know that the deadline for application is June 26. The actual applications are not open yet, but they will be absolutely any day now. And your procurement officer and myself are in communication to recognize the minute those applications open. So next slide, please. What we're asking for is for Dysart to become a project partner by acting as lead applicant for that grant application. We already have absolute confirmation of support from the Real Easy Riders Cycling Club. The executive just met this week. Algonquin Outfitters, a downtown business. The Rotary Club in terms of supporting its existing bike share program immediately in front of the caboose, and the Rails and Gallery. So these will all write letters of support for the Trillium application. And if we have a go-ahead from council today to go to the next level, then we will reach out to the health unit and the county planning, public works, and economic development departments to see if they're interested in likewise supporting with letters of support. So thank you for considering this project idea, and I'm happy to answer any questions or listen to any comments.
Any questions? I think it's a great idea, Pamela. Do you see any conflict with the kids riding the bikes in the park when people are walking, when they're learning to ride?
There might be a
Sounds
little
funny.
wobbling around, but
Yeah.
a child on a bike 3 feet off the ground is not a great threat.
No, I'm just
And
getting
the
confused, so.
the path, I think they could easily steer off into the grass. And so I guess your short answer to that is no, I
No.
don't see it being a conflict.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? Okay. Okay, Mallory, I guess we have a resolution. Thank you, Pamela.
Sure. So the resolution reads, be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the delegation from Pamela Marsalis regarding the proposal to turn the caboose owned by the municipality into a community bike hub, and further direct staff to work with the Friends of the Rail Trail to make an application to the Ontario Trillium Foundation for a seed grant when it becomes available in 2024, conditional upon the proposal meeting the requirements of the grant.
Okay, mover and seconder. Barry and Tammy, all in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, Ursula, and I believe we got Steve and Heather here as well. How are you, Steve? Hi, Ursula.
Morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
Council, thank you for having us this morning.
Oh, guys, your mic isn't on, just so you know.
Okay.
There it is.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mayor Ferry and council. Thank you for having us this morning. I'm Steve Roberts and Ursula DeVolen is with me, and we're both members of the Halliburton Rotary Club. We're here today to ask council for permission to use Head Lake Park on Tuesday, August the 6th for an event. So keep in mind, we use the park on Tuesdays or use the band shell actually, for a popular Music in the Park series. And to give a brief history of our eventing that we do in the summer, we used to do carnivals, but I think we started in 1944, our club. And we're coming up to 80 years this summer as a service club in this area. And we partnered with Dysart on many projects over the year, and we've had a great working relationship with Dysart. And we're a service club and we do fundraising, and fundraising is a way of, giving back to the community. And we also give back to Rotary International, but most of the money comes right back to our community. So, and our biggest source of income really for fundraising is our car draw, and it's in the summer at our summer event. And throughout the years, it's been a car. And last year we had a truck, first time ever, and that was a big deal because Curry Bishop over the years has been asking for a truck and we never got one, and finally we got one after the fact. And it was very popular fundraising event last year using the truck. And actually Curry did mention years ago that they raffled a cottage off. It was before my time, but I don't remember. I believe it was Halliburton Lake. So it was so that's a little bit of history of what we do. We fundraise. Not sure when the carnival that we did have in the park a few years back started here, but I'm up in years, late 60s. I remember the carnival being in the park next door here, 3 rides, Ferris wheel, merry-go-round, and the swings. And it's been there for 60 some years.
we've been doing carnivals and bringing in rides for entertaining the public and families throughout in the summer. And a lot of the times it was the only thing that was sort of a highlight for families back then. And I believe it still can be now, so. But times changed and, you know, COVID came along and during COVID, everything shut down and our summer event sort of didn't happen other than we did a beef on a bun drive-through for a couple of years. Huge success. We had great support from the community and we did our card draws on Facebook Live, and that's something we had to adapt, so. And in 2022, things opened up a little bit, tried to offer a little bit more within the park, and we had some, you know, family games and eventing planned, and it poured rain. 2022, I've been a member of the club for 25 years and I've never seen it rain so hard. So that event happened, but not with a lot of success. So last year we scaled back on our children's or scaled back on what we tried 2 years ago, and we brought in a children's performer, face painting, beef on a bun, etc., on Music in the Park night, and it was very successful. And this year, Ursula and I have come to ask, you know, just give us permission. She's going to do a short presentation of what we have planned for that event on Music in the Park Day. And I hope you'll receive it, Bob.
For sure. We know what Rotary does. It does a lot of good work. Ursula, do you have any comments?
Yeah, so as Steve mentioned, throughout the years, what has been offered as a summer carnival has changed. You know, there were parades at different times. There was in Midway.
Right.
We can no longer get a Midway operator here. So we're looking to just morph a little more. Steve outlined what we did from 2020 to 2023 and 24. So currently we have permission to use the band shelter on Tuesday, August the 6th for the Music in the Park evening. We have an extension for that one night to include a children's performer. So we're going to start a little earlier, bring in a children's performer. We also that night set up our food tent, offer beef on a bun and hot dogs. We bring in a face painter and stuff like that. That's what we did last year. So our goal this year is to seek permission from you to expand the event. So we wish to expand sort of in two ways. We need permission. One is in terms of space. We'd like to expand the space to take over the park and to expand the time. So we'd like to start setting up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and run a children's event from 4 until 8. And then so the full time would be from 3 until 9 because music runs till 9 o'clock and we do the car draw at 8. So this children's event is growth from what we did in 2022, where we had little stations where children could come in, participate in free, family-friendly, fun activities, kind of geared from ages of, you know, toddlers up until hopefully early teens. The Rotary Club is 25 people, so we have the capacity to run our events with the music and the performer and the face paint and the food tent and such, and to be organizers. But what we would like to do is call on the community to partner with us. So we would like to ask community partners to come and offer an activity. So that might be the kind of examples, like the driving range. We would ask Andy from the driving range to come, bring a mini putt game. He sets that up, he staffs it, he runs it from 4 to 8. Something like the Home Builders Association could come and they set up a little demonstration that's, you know, appealing to children that might talk about the trades or something, but some kind of little fun activity that shows that the Home Builders Association does and stuff. A store in town might offer an obstacle course. The Rails and Gallery might offer, you know, little tiles where children can paint them, and then somebody creates like a beautiful mosaic piece of art from all the compilations of the kids. I talked about maybe Algonquin Outfitters could be invited to run a bike parade around the perimeter. I don't know if anybody else did this, but when I was a kid, I rode my bike down the main street, you know, after you decorated it in the parade in the 70s or 80s, and we, you know, got prizes for our pretty little bikes and stuff like that. So to bring something back like that, but just around the perimeter of the park as opposed to down the main street. Even in 2022, the municipality sent John over and he did a garbage and recycling game toss. So that kind of highlighted, you know, with like cans like those ones over there in the corner and highlighted what, you know, people could be doing with their waste. So we would be relying on the creativity and the human resources of community members to come in, create a game and operate it. And we would have a bit of an approval process. They would submit an application to the Rotary Club of Haliburton, just a brief rundown of what they'd like to do. That would allow us to make sure there's no duplicates, make sure it's free, fun, family friendly. So no like knife throwing contest or something, but to keep it all kind of well contained into our scope of what we see as suitable. And then once we approve that, we would also show it to our insurance company to make sure that it's covered under our insurance, and Steve's gonna talk about that. And so once we approve these things, we have a compilation of maybe 25 community partners who come in. We designate space in the park for them. They run their event. Families from local community to cottagers come in. They enjoy the event. They participate in the music in the park as well. We have some food available for them, and it's just a fun, free activity. Yeah, so basically we're looking for an expansion of time. It's from 3 o'clock on,
Yep.
and then an expansion of the space to use the grass and just the general main park area. So Steve's gonna make a comment on the insurance.
Yeah, I checked with the insurance and, besides that, we're well aware of, you know, the regulations in the park of heavy equipment coming in, so anything that would come in would be pickup truck related half tons driving on, right on the pavement or on the pathway coming in, so, and we're also aware of stakes, no stakes going in the ground, and that's all reasonable because our park has base issues, so. So we did, I did check with our insurance through Norwich Insurance, and it's, we get it every summer. We've been doing music in the park since 2014, and we have $5 million liability insurance because, and it's Dysart's name that it's on their property, and they're aware of that. And I asked specifically about some of the games that we might be introducing, and if surprisingly, a bouncy castle is a dangerous piece of equipment compared, you know, to our insurance. There must have been issues somewhere, but they're few and far between. I can't see how they can get hurt, but maybe somebody bumped the head. But however, there is insurance with the provider of the bouncy castle of $5 million coverage to cover their specific event. So, and we believe, you know, if we bring a bouncy castle in, 5 million there, and for music in the park, that we have lots of liability and coverage there to support what we're doing. And if you have any other questions about that.
I'm good. I understand what you're trying to do. It's good.
Yeah, it's, we're not, we just want to make it safe. Like you said, there's no knife throwing, it's just simple little games for kids.
No bows and arrows
Yeah,
shooting deer or anything?
Yeah.
But things like bouncy castles could be brought in, you know, maybe Remax to bring their hot air balloon back for free rides, you know.
Well, there's so many things you can do when
Yeah.
you're
The fishing derby.
broadening out like that.
And we believe that we can make that happen in the park. It's the perfect setting. It's too bad, the carnival rides, they're gone, like the Hominick business that was been here for 60 some years retired, and there's no other ride arcade midway businesses wanting to come to Haliburton for a 1-day event.
And insurance has put a lot of those.
Yeah,
places
and
over there.
insurance, and he's, you know, it's the Hominicks, so he tried to find a finder to take over, but so he wanted to not close it because he could have set it up on hard pan somewhere else, but so we're trying to adapt to still offer something fun in the summer that's been tradition for 60 or 70 years of just offering what we can.
Changes. Good.
Changes. We have to adapt.
I think that's a good presentation. Any questions? Pat?
More of a comment, but will you guys be doing fireworks at night too, like you would normally? So just a suggestion to you, I was over in Huntsville last year, they did a drone show over there. And it knocked me off, like, I couldn't believe the accuracy of it, and I thought it would be pretty neat, but I think it would be a great draw to tie in with that, what you're just talking about here, on that, just as a suggestion, but that's, I think it's a great,
Into a drone show 2 years ago. I don't remember the numbers. It is outrageously expensive. Like an 8-minute show is $50,000 or something like it. Unless, so I'd love to talk to somebody who maybe got a better deal than what I found. I think it was 2 years ago I researched it. So yes, I'd love to see it.
yeah.
Love
I like to
it.
see the
Maybe
numbers
over
down,
Bayport.
but yeah, you bet.
But back to the fireworks, that was one of the listings from our insurance stating they don't want us to do fireworks, pony rides, similar things, you know. It's just, we have to have extra insurance for stuff like that. So,
Yeah, they're possible. We just have to
Yeah.
have insured, or the person who offers the pony rides, they have to have their insurance and offer, the Rotary Club as an additional insured on the policy.
And they'd have to have it, you know, the 5 million is the magic number. Like, it seems to be, so.
Well, let's hope we don't ever have that
Yeah,
happen.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Well, you've put a lot of work, thought into this.
Yeah, it's, we want to make it successful
Yep,
and weather is dependent, like.
but that's always what we're
Rain
faced with, right?
Just one question, Maurice.
Yeah.
That's the Tuesday night.
Mhm.
So will that interfere with the farmer's market?
No, I believe they're finished at 2 and, we're going to start at 3, bringing in a
Great.
few items and maybe beforehand, earlier in the morning, if we wanted to get in there before they set up, just to bring in some stuff. But as far as a food tent out by the van shelter.
We're aware that that space will be blocked during
Yeah.
the 10 to 2 timeframe. That's why we set ours up for now.
Okay, thank you.
And anyone coming in, we did mention, I asked the bouncy castle person, he brings his equipment in a 1/2-ton truck. He doesn't, it's not a 5-ton truck.
No. That's good. Okay, Mallory, you have a resolution?
Okay, the resolution reads, be it resolved the council acknowledges receipt of delegation from representatives of the Rotary Club of Halliburton detailing an event proposal for the Rotary Club, or sorry, for the Halliburton Rotary Summer Festival. And further, that council approves the event as presented, subject to the following conditions. 1, that the Rotary Club must provide a certificate of insurance, naming the municipality of Dysart as additionally insured for the entire event. 2, that the Rotary Club will ensure that vendors and community partners do not drive stakes into the ground and that tents and banners are weighted or secured with an anchor. And 3, the Rotary Club will communicate to vendors and community partners bringing vehicles to the park that they must either drop off the equipment and park elsewhere before the event starts, or their vehicle must remain in place until the completion of the event.
Okay, you addressed those items in your comment. Okay, mover and seconder, Pat and Barry, all in favor? Carrie, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next is Robert Laporte. Even the late people are here. That's not-
Can you hear me okay? Okay, great. Thank you. And good morning, Your Worship and honorable members of council, community officials, and for all those listening at home. My name is Robert Laporte, and I'm the founder of a very unique company called the Newtopia Eco Solutions Network. I have a very unique background, and that's why I wanted to introduce myself today. I'm working in your community now, and I wanted to let you all know that I'm here and to see what's available to you. Only got a few minutes to speak, of course, so I'm gonna run through it, but I'm at your disposal if you want to reach me privately after. I actually started the company because I did a documentary movie about genetically engineered virus causing a pandemic all over the world. That was a 2-hour TV special. It showed everyone how all communities should prepare for a pandemic, for lockdown, for grocery food, for food shortage, or even power failures. And guess what year that aired across Canada? Was back in 2003. So I'm a very forward-thinking person. The company was founded actually not to just focus on pandemic, but basically how to rebuild planet Earth in a sustainable manner. Green buildings, clean renewable energy, complete environmental sustainability. The main focus, actually, believe it or not, was how to integrate forestry and agriculture symbiosis with community planning. So how to have, it's a carbon negative proposal. I actually traveled over 500,000 kilometers around the world over 2.5 years to interview technology companies and also to interview engineering firms and to train Canadian embassy staff at different Canadian embassies. So Japan, South Korea, France, the UK, Denmark, all over Mexico, all over the United States, and right across Canada, filling auditoriums. I've presented to thousands of people. The majority of people I presented to were actually facility managers, building managers, property management companies, how to even retrofit existing buildings to be more environmentally friendly. Way before the talk about climate change, right? This is going back 20 years ago. Not to say that Greenpeace didn't exist, but I'm one of those people in Canada that took it upon myself. No government funding, no private investors. I slept in my car sometimes when I traveled. I slept in farmers' fields, total grassroots output. What I uncovered in all of those travels was that it's actually possible to get most buildings, in fact, every house in Canada, off grid. They don't even have to pay for it. Stop paying for gas because heating is free. The technologies exist to make free heat, free air conditioning, and free electricity. It could be done for a single home or an entire street or a whole community. And we don't embrace these technologies. So I wanted to investigate why. Actually, what I was investigating was why did Canada rank 57th place out of 64 countries in sustainability? Now, don't forget, I'm going back to like 2008, 9, 10. I investigated the forestry, the mining sector, manufacturing plants. And what it all comes down to is the companies that manage our buildings, the private entities that do, a lot of them actually benefit from business as usual. So I don't want to get into all that. What I'm here to just talk about is that all these communities that I presented to, I had to meet with mayors and councillors. I presented in Dysart et al. Many years ago, like maybe 8 years ago. I managed over $800 million in small renewable energy projects. So I had to present to council back then. And I wanted to just explain what I've done in those 10 years or so since I presented to council. So we've done indoor hydroponic farming. I love the presentation that was here earlier about the Caboose, the biking project. We converted an old rail car into an indoor hydroponics farm. It's on a cement pad and it grows food for free forever. It should be at every school, every long-term care home. It's amazing. There's no plumbing connected to it, no water from the city, no electrical wires. It just runs for free. It's running off solar panels and charge controllers and batteries. It recycles all the water, and 2 parking spots actually replaces 5 acres of farmland to grow food. You grow food for free forever. I interviewed people that own grocery stores or work at them. And it was amazing to see, why don't they do this on the roof? Why don't they do it beside the building? And it's interesting to understand how the grocery system works in Canada. Why do we import food from Ecuador, right? Why do you pay $12 for a bag of spinach when you can grow it for free using the waste heat or waste energy from a building? I mean, I grew bananas and strawberries for free on the roof of my university in Montreal using waste energy from the building. Every building has wasted energy. And that you don't have someone hired in your community to look into this. None of the communities in Canada have people to do this. Lots of money being spent, billions of dollars being spent in sustainability projects, but I created a unique company that can target things in a different way. We focus on the waste, even like waste itself, waste management. There's amazing technologies that you can convert or upcycle, close the loop on things. So I created a company that has a very small consulting fee that allows a no tender for communities. So you can engage me directly. I'm a private consultant. So if you see on my website, there is like a 5-minute video that introduces who I am and all the amazing things I've been doing all over the world, but especially right here in Ontario, that it's at your disposal. So I'm going to be presenting again over the next month, I guess, a month or 2 months. I spoke with Jeff Isles about a project that we're working on in your community. It's similar to the Caboose thing where it's underutilized land and an innovative idea that could actually create some form of tourism there as well. Maybe even somehow we link it to the bike trail. I don't know if that's possible. But it's to help a landowner in the community who had no use for land because he can't build a cottage, he can't build a house on it. But there are other ways to create revenue on underutilized land. It's a 12-acre site. So I wanted to just, I guess, get the message across that, growing food, farming, growing medicine, it could be done in a more sustainable manner. I know, most people in Canada don't even know you can get your house off grid without paying for it. We bring in all the equipment, put in an electric heating system, connect it to solar panels. You never pay an electricity or gas bill ever again. It doesn't matter if you're on oil or natural gas. It doesn't matter. We're doing this in downtown Toronto for homes. If you have farmland, that's great, even easier for us. But we're getting people to never pay an energy bill again. And you don't have to pay for the equipment, right? 60 days after we've installed everything, we'll put 20 or 30 or $40,000 into your bank account at 0% interest rate. You use that money to pay it off. So instead of paying your bills every month to the gas company and the hydro company, you're paying yourself for equipment that you own forever. And the paybacks are the same month it starts. It's not, you don't wait 5 or 7 years to get a return on investment. So we launched that program in 2015.
Stop you there, Robert. Your
Pardon me?
time's almost out, but where do you get that money from? To buy and give them $30,000 or $40,000.
So actually, it's not even 20, 30, 40. It can go up to 150,000. It depends on the community. So I invested created my own investment network because I managed 800 million in solar contracts over the years.
Okay.
And so you can piggyback projects with like government. Government has a program, for example, where they stopped all the rebates. We still offer the rebates because it's my program. I'm the one who created the program in 2015.
All right.
And the $5,000 rebates still exist, even though the Canadian government, the federal program, mismanaged it through the companies managing it. I know the financial firm involved, and it would take 8 months to get a rebate. With us, it takes 1 week. You don't have to go. There's some entities that mismanage things, and then there's people that do it properly.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm here to present is we're doing it.
All right, well, I think you've introduced yourself and we'll have a look at the video there. You said 5 minutes. And try and figure out how we're going to utilize you. Okay?
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for letting me speak this morning.
Mallory, you have a
Yeah.
resolution?
So be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the delegation from Robert Laporte, President and CEO of Newtopia E-Solutions Incorporated, providing an introduction to his work.
Mover and seconder. Pat and Tammy, all in favor? Carried. Okay,
Murray, can we,
yeah,
Peter's
Yeah.
here and,
yeah, he's
and
right
he-
near the end of the
he's at
agenda.
the very end. I don't know if you want to stay all
Yeah.
day for all this, or can we jump him ahead here?
Yeah, we can jump him ahead and then we'll have a 10-minute break.
Sorry, who are we jumping ahead, just so I know?
The Culture Resources Committee recommendations.
Oh, okay.
Number 12, I believe. Okay, so we,
12C there, Mallory.
yeah,
Yeah, I've got my pile here. So we have a 12B from them and also a 12C. And who's with us at the back, just so I know?
Peter McCluskey.
Oh, okay, perfect. So that is 12C. Okay, thank you.
So actually it's C that, we're.
Yeah.
here. Okay, so this is a project dedicated to the public beach at Eagle Lake, right? Is it, everybody's read that, I believe? You okay with it? Well, I think we're fine with doing it, so, resolution then, Mallory?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Whereas the Geyser Culture Resources Committee has received a proposal from the Eagle Lake Women's Society to install information panels highlighting the history and culture of Eagle Lake at Eagle Lake Beach. Be it resolved that Geyser et al. Council accepts the recommendation of the Culture Resources Committee to support the creation and installation of the aforementioned historical interpretive panels by the Eagle Lake Women's Society, working in consultation with the Culture Resources Committee and municipal staff.
Mover and seconder. Walt and Barry, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Thank you,
Yep.
Peter.
We taking a break now?
Yeah, we're taking 10-minute break.
Okay, thank you.
How many have more?
Okay, ready to go? Okay. Fire then, I guess, to Dan.
So Dan's been called on a fire call. But the first report there, council already reviewed this bylaw in draft form, so we could pass it if council's okay with that.
You okay with it? I read it twice. I thought it looked all right.
Okay, so I'll read the resolution. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2024-26, being a bylaw for regulating open air fires in the municipality of Desert at all, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay, mover and seconder. Walt and seconder. Carm. All in favor? Carried.
So Murray, you froze for the first for some reason on my computer. So Carm was the seconder. Who was the first?
Walt.
Walt, perfect. Thank you.
And the fire department report, there shouldn't be anything, if there's questions there, we'll save them for Dan, but if there isn't, we'll move it. Nancy?
I know they've done lots of their weekend courses and training, and I think all of the new recruits are up to date on their CPR and first aid. I know they did those on the weekends. And they're actually responding to more and more calls. It's getting very busy.
Yeah.
They provide an incredible service with our shortages of ambulance response times and tough stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Are we short an ambulance or?
well, no, it's just they're that much busier,
Yeah,
right? The whole community is busier.
it's
so.
busier. It's a problem for sure. Okay, resolution then, Mallory.
Okay, be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the fire department report for February 2024.
Just before we close out, I think, I talked to Dan, we do have a problem with that rebuilt motor, apparently. It's not functioning just the way it should, so there's a bit of a dispute on who's gonna pay what. So, but we're not paying for it.
We're not paying for it?
Well, not as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, because he supplied the motor, so that should be on whoever built the motor or whatever,
Or whoever
not
told-
Geyser, that's
Whoever
right.
told us the motor.
Yeah, we never should have fixed it to start with.
Okay, mover, we got a mover and seconder then?
Not yet.
Okay, Nancy and Walt, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, Parks, Recreation and Events. Letter to council from Andy Gleekoff. Request to use the Medical City Center parking lot on the weekend of the home show. That shouldn't be a problem, should it? There's no,
And all they're just shuttling people back and forth, right?
Yeah.
You can park down there and get shuttled up to
yeah,
here.
that makes sense, actually.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. Okay, resolution.
Okay, be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the correspondence from Andy Gleekoff requesting the use of the medical center parking lot for the 2024 Halliburton Home and Cottage Show. And further that council grants permission for the medical center parking lot to be used for the following time slots for the 2024 Halliburton Home and Cottage Show. Friday, May 31st from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, June 1st from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, June 2nd from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Okay, mover and seconder. Nancy and Pat, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, the Highland Storms Free Hockey Equipment Day.
Yes, so Highland Storm, oh, sorry. Sorry, Mary. Highland Storm contacted us asking if they could use part of the arena parking lot on Sunday, August 18th. They were originally looking at the Saturday, but with the Hockey Haven shuttles and pickups, we suggested the 18th would be a better day. They're looking at using the parking spaces close to the skate park to put out hockey equipment. They're looking for people to donate gently used hockey equipment so other people can come and outfit themselves for the upcoming hockey season. And hopefully this becomes an annual thing for them where they can help people in the community get a hand up and exchange equipment. It's not a sale, it's just the pure exchange of equipment. And then they would take everything that's not picked up and deal with it themselves afterwards. So that's the first part. And then the second part is Lori Powell. She's a resident of Halliburton Lake. She contacted us or submitted a request to host a day of music at Halliburton Lake Beach on Saturday, August 10th, beginning around 2 p.m. and ending at 8 p.m. and to invite some local musicians to play musical sets while the community enjoys the day at the beach. Something like this did occur last year. We had talked to Barry and Tamara about it, and the Halliburton Lake Cottagers Association, and they were fine. And I know there was some communication sent from the Halliburton Lake Cottagers Association asking about this event, and their concern was just that they don't they support this event, but they don't want their cottage events to be or the dates of those to be booked by something else. And so the thought is, I would think like the Halliburton Lake Cottagers Association would obviously get first crack at whatever area they're using with the beach area. And then if there's an event like this, a request like this, it comes forward to council for approval. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, Andrea. So the resolution should read that they work with the Cottage Association to resolve any conflicts there might be.
Okay, and I know that date's not a conflict, but Mallory can include that in the resolution, and I can let her know to do that.
You can follow up on it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, resolution. You ready, Mallory?
Not yet, because I gotta include something. So we've got, so we're gonna approve the music at Halliburton Lake Beach.
Yeah.
And further that the event organizer work with the
Halliburton
Lake Cottage Owners Association.
Yeah, association.
So is it like location placement? Is that what it is?
Well,
Or
it's a time about who's
yeah.
using what time.
Okay, I'll make that sound better, but be it resolved that council approves the request for Highland Storm Minor Hockey to set up an equipment exchange in a section of the arena parking lot on Sunday, August 18th, 2024. And be it resolved that council approves the request to host a day of music at Halliburton Lake Beach on Saturday, August 10th, 2024. And further that the event organizer will work with the Halliburton Lake Cottage Owners Association.
Okay, mover and seconder. Barry and Carm, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, Andrea again.
Yeah. So as you recall, there was a Ontario Trillium grant that we applied for. We were successful with. So myself and Jennifer have been working with the Harcourt, some community members in Harcourt and Tammy Donaldson to look at playground options. There was a tender put out, request for tender put out for different companies to submit. We had 14 submissions come in, of which from 6 different vendors. So we went through an evaluation process of those and then brought forward the top ones, the ones that rated the highest to the committee. And from there, a playground was chosen. So if council approves this design, the financial impact is it's full funding from the Ontario Trillium Foundation, and we'd be coming in at $149,041. So very close to that $150,000 mark. And this would be installed if this is awarded today, if council agrees to this submission, then we can award that and they can order the equipment and we might see it early summer or late spring, early summer, because most of the companies, we put a deadline of September 30th, but most companies said that they would try to get it in as soon as possible. So I'm not sure if you've had a chance to look at the design.
Do they do the installation as well, do they?
They do everything. So this is site prep, installation, the ground cover, which is the engineered wood fiber, and they have to come do a site visit anytime now that the snow is gone, and which was written into the tender document. So all the companies had agreed to that. The only thing is, we have some color schemes to look at, because the color won't be exactly what you see there. There's two different palettes, but they're trying to look at something that matches the building. So it fits in the Harcourt area there.
Well, that's good, I think. That should draw kids from Wilberforce too.
And it's intended to be for ages to 18 months, 2 years old, all the way to 12. So that was this one scored the highest in meeting those requirements.
Okay. Any questions, Laura? Resolution?
Okay, be it resolved that council receives and acknowledges this report concerning the results of the request for proposal 2024-REC-02. Being a proposal to supply and install a new playground at the Harcourt Community Center. And further that council award the proposal to Blue Imp for the first submission.
Mover and seconder. Tammy and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Okay, Main Street Activator Program application.
So there's a grant opportunity that's come available. It's really tight. The deadline to apply is the end of this week. I think it's March 31st, but that takes it over to Easter. So is this week. So there's some suggestions moving forward. We have shared some of these with the BIA, but it since has grown a little bit more. Jill Elstone has commented on work that can be done both at the Cenotaph and in this lower area. So we're looking for council to approve the possibility of applying for this grant. And if we're successful, there's part A and part B. Part A would be the Cenotaph area to make it more vibrant again, to refurbish some of the pieces that are there, the war memorial pieces, get a new flagpole with an internal system so that it can only be moved by people that have an access to that, to fix up some of the interlocked brick in that area. So that would be part A. And then that obviously would have to be in consultation with the Legion. And then part B is that lower section, which right now has been weeds or grass, or it's an unused space. So the thought was to turn that into a focal spot. At first it was to put in just some lights and like a big light up moose and maybe a Halliburton sign. But in talking with Jim, it's grown. And the thought is to put down filter cloth, then some sort of material that still allows drainage, but keeps any weeds and anything from growing up. So it requires less maintenance in the long run, to run some conduit for lights and to have a couple light displays that maybe can change according to the seasons. So one that's conducive to spring, one that's conducive to the fall, and then to put river rock at the side going from the sidewalk down to that area so people can't walk in there, and to fix up the fence and just make it lit up, an attractive space in Halliburton that people will see, but just clean that area up a bit.
I think Jim's calling this a Cenotaph rejuvenation.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
The way it's been 30 years since anybody's done any work in there. So it is a focal point for the town, and it deserves all the respect and that we can give it. So that's the big thing coming into town for sure. Historical. That's well.
Yeah, I think it's great. It's
What's that one?
Thank you. Sorry. No, I think it's a great idea, but I like the idea, and maybe it's not the right time to talk about it, but we are talking about trying to lighten up the town a bit, but that we had lights in the trees from, say, the bridge all the way into the park and through the park. I've been through small towns. I think I brought this up years ago, but everybody said there's going to be, vandalism and things like that. But I just think it would really look nice to see along the boardwalk there if there was some trees that were lit up, and also in the park, if we could work that in at the same time. I think it would really would add something to our community. So thank you.
Andrew?
If we can't work that into this grant, that would be something I had brought forward a little while ago about the possibility of a festival of lights for Halliburton in November, December. So lighting up the trees can maybe be a part of that if we move forward with it. And then it can grow to become maybe a year-round thing. But that might be a way to incorporate that if we are not able to get it into the grant.
That,
Andrea, is that Festival Lights, is that a monthly thing or is that something that would require permanent installation like what Walt's talking about? Is it, you know what I mean? Is it temporary just for the 2 months? Or is that something we could put forward in a grant and get the whole thing done separate from the Cenotaph grant?
So what I was proposing, like what I brought forward before would have been just a temporary, like 2-month thing. However, if there's desire to look at something more permanent, we can keep our eyes open for a grant opportunity that would align for that and look for that opportunity.
All right. Well, for me anyways, I would suggest that you mentioned it, Murray, getting hold of the Legion, making sure they're
Yeah,
on side, but I
for
think
sure.
I think this looks awesome.
And I'm definitely in favor of the lights being on, like 12 months of the year, you know, on a timer, of course, but I just think it would really add something really, when you drive in, we have such a beautiful setting right now, especially at night. It would look very nice. Thank you.
so we're going ahead with the Cenotaph rejuvenation. Yeah, and looking at lights as a possibility. Okay,
I'll read the resolution.
Yep.
Be it resolved that council acknowledges this report concerning the My Main Street Community Activator Program application. And that council authorized staff to proceed with an application to the My Main Street Community Activator Program based on the proposal contained within the staff report.
mover and seconder. Nancy and Carm, all in favor? Thank you. Okay. Off to the building. Carl.
Good morning.
Morning.
So first is our building permit report. Very typical month in comparison to the previous year. Any questions on the building permit activity?
No, I think it's pretty straightforward. It is what it is. Resolution, Mallory?
Be it resolved that council received the February 2024 building activity report as information.
Mover and seconder. Nancy and Walt, all in favor? Carried.
All right, the next one is the Shoreline Lake Health Assessment. So this concept was developed through the creation of the site alteration bylaw, where we got feedback from the public through the questionnaire we put out. Council probably remembers that questionnaire. One of the questions that we asked was on the restoration of the shoreline, how it could be encouraged, which we received many great ideas. We took a few of those ideas and put them together to create the Shoreline Health Assessment, whereby properties will be graded based on the current state in comparison with the what is permitted in the site alteration bylaw with respect to natural vegetation and erosion control. It should be noted that this assessment is for educational purposes only, and there's no requirement in this process or in the site alteration bylaw to restore a property due to activities that preceded that bylaw or any other relevant bylaws. These assessments will take place at the same time as the septic maintenance inspection, utilizing the criteria found in the attached example site plan. If you look at that example site plan, so it's very simple to interpret. Anything yellow is essentially where there should be native vegetation or trees, and the white areas are essentially areas that you can have disturbed around structures and that 5-meter wide path. Now you'll notice that the 3-meter ribbon of life is referenced in the site plan and actually provides one of the highest scores available in the assessment. Although the ribbon of life is not referenced in the site alteration bylaw, it is a well-known component as a last line of defense for the uptake of excessive nutrients. It mitigates erosion right at that shoreline. And it also provides food and shelter for wildlife and greatly contributes to the visualization of the shoreline from the lake. This assessment will be completed with the property owner and will be followed up with an actual report card, which will contain specific links to documents found on our website to help them improve their score. For example, if the property did not contain a full ribbon of life, we would send them a link to Professor Barb Elliott's Ribbon of Life video. There would be a 1-page Resilient Shorelands brochure. That's a quick reference for anybody who wants to skim material. And then there'd be a 34-page document for anybody who needs more information or read more about it. That's put out by Watersheds Canada. It's titled "The Science Behind Vegetated Shoreland Buffers: Why the Ribbon of Life Matters." There'd also be a link to Halliburton County Master Gardeners website, where they can, that it contains a lot of information. They can book a consultation that'll have 2 or 3 master gardeners come out for a donation. And they'll assess, review your property and give you recommendations of how to, what to plant where. Their website also contains a lot of information about the native plants that are available with regards to restoring shorelines. I'd also like to put out a plug for the Friends of Ecological and Environmental Learning Feel. They currently have their plant sale on right now on their website at ecoenvirolearn.org. Or go on to Dysart's Facebook page. We've put a link onto their plant sale. And they include plants such as shoreline shrub bundles, shoreline plant kits, and you order them on the website and then you pick them up at Abbey Gardens on May 18th. So, great opportunity along with this shoreline assessment. The two all go hand in hand. The process is all about education provides the relevant information for the property owners that may be interested in restoring some of their property. Any questions on that one?
Do we have a method of tracking how many people we've assisted with information like this, and in fact had their cooperation and wanted to do it? Can we track that some way?
Yeah. So there will be in Breeze reports or septic maintenance inspection reports. We can add that component. What we found out in the field with these shoreline assessments. We can definitely track that and use that information as we see fit in the future.
Yeah, it's really important that we know we've got something. Like the county say, well, they charge 3 people, and we can say, no, we didn't charge anybody, but we helped 6 people do the right thing without going that way. So that's what I'm looking for, that kind of information.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions on it? Okay, pretty comprehensive. Okay, Mallory?
Be resolved that council received the Shoreline Lake Health Assessment as information.
Mover and seconder. Barry and Walt, all in favor? Sorry, Pat, I didn't see your finger in time. You were in time, but okay. Let's do the septic maintenance with Bree, I guess.
Yeah, thank you. So today I'm just bringing back the bylaw that I presented last month. So as per building code requirements, we require to provide a month's, or I think it's 20 days actually, for fee changes. So we've done that. We haven't received any comment on why we should not be adjusting our fees the way that they are. So we're just looking to get our bylaw passed. And then once we've done so, we are prepared to start sending out our initial inspection notices for this year.
And this is the one that Barry and Pat worked with you on, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Good. Okay, so I guess we can have a resolution then.
Okay. Be it resolved that bylaw 2024-24, being a bylaw respecting the inspection and maintenance of existing sewage systems, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Mover and seconder. Pat and Carm. All in favor? Okay. Bylaw update, March. Haley?
Yep. Hi, good morning, everybody. Here's our bylaw report for March. As you can see, there's still an increase in file intake this year as opposed to previous years. We've actually seen even more complaints come in since this report was written. So the total for March will be higher than this. We have also started issuing tickets in reference to the deer feeding bylaw. So we've gotten a few of those issued.
We've heard about some of them, I think.
I'm sure, yes.
Okay, unexpected. Okay, any questions about Haley's bylaw proposal? Okay, go ahead.
Be it resolved, the council accepts the bylaw update report from February 21st to March 19th, 2024 as information.
Mover and seconder. Barry and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Waste management.
Yes, this is the updated waste management bylaw as discussed in last month's council. We've added that set fine per scavenging. We're just updating it and bringing it all into one bylaw. So any amendments that were previously involved are now under one bylaw.
Okay. You want to read the resolution then, Mallory?
Yeah. Be it resolved that bylaw 2024-25, being a bylaw to govern landfills or waste management and waste management disposal fees under the jurisdiction of Desert et al., be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto, and further that staff are directed to send bylaw 2024-25 to the Ministry of Attorney General for set fine approval.
Okay, mover and seconder. Nancy and Walt, all in favor? Carried. Okay, orders, administrative penalties.
Yes, this is a bylaw to govern the administration and issuance of orders. It's an additional tool for both the building and bylaw departments to gain compliance. It gives us the ability, or gives bylaw the ability to assist building and septic as well in gaining compliance to orders.
Anybody have an issue when they were reading that? Okay, none. Resolution.
Okay, be it resolved that bylaw 2024-27, being a bylaw to govern the administration and issuance of orders and administrative penalties under the jurisdiction of Desert et al., be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay, mover and seconder. Barry and Carm, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Well, thank you very much, folks. While I'm waiting for Rob to get set up, I see Kent Milford's calling me, and that's a pretty important call. He's the curling club is working on providing food for the. Yeah.
I think we're taking a break, guys, so you can turn your cameras off.
Okay. Good morning, Rob.
Morning, Mayor, members of council. Dave and John are away this week, so you're stuck with me for these two quick reports. The first one is the roads report. So we're very much in the shoulder season between spring and winter. Pothole patching is fully underway. We are trying to get the grader out from time to time as we can to touch up some of these roads, but until the frost fully comes out, we can't properly grade them. So they're going to be very much temporary fixes until later on this spring. You're probably going to see the street sweeper rolling through town here shortly, if not this week, then the start of next week. So hopefully winter is behind us now and we can move on.
Okay. By the way, the roads you are grading has helped.
Yeah, it's far from a perfect fix, but better than they were.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions for Rob? Okay, resolution, Mallory.
Be it resolved that council receives this report outlining roads maintenance activities for February 2024 as information.
Mover and seconder, Nancy and Barry, All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, the good old backyard composters.
Yeah, so this report is just for updated pricing. So this was approved in the 2024 budget. So the pricing has gone up quite a bit, between 40 and 50%. I can only assume that's the cost of resin going up, but we don't have clarification on that. Again, it's a cost recovery model, so that's going to be a net zero on the environmental budget.
And we didn't sell a lot of those, did we?
No, we're not getting a lot. I had the number, and which I've lost. I think we're getting about a dozen of each this year, and we're expecting that to last us 2 years.
You're talking about the digester.
And composters.
Yeah. Okay, questions? Okay, Mallory?
Okay, be it resolved that council receive this report for information about revised prices for the sale of backyard composters and digesters. And further that council accepts the proposed price increase and directs staff to bring forward an amended fee bylaw for adoption to a future meeting.
Mover and seconder? Walt and Nancy, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Finance. Barb.
Yes, good morning. So the first report we have here is the check summary report for February 2024. Total accounts payable of $1,638,194 and payroll $372,723. So total disbursements were just over $2 million for the month.
Any questions on that, or? We know how to spend, don't we? Gotta be done. Okay, Mover, Mallory?
Yeah, be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the February 2024 check summary.
Mover and seconder? Pat and Tammy, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Impose fees and charges for communal sewage. Oh, this is smarting.
Yes. So the 2024 budget included an 8.1% rate increase for communal sewage services. So that translates into one ERU now costing $806, and the metered sewage going up to $40.50 per 1,000 gallons.
Okay. Getting up there too, isn't it? Okay. Can't do much about that one. Mover and Mallory.
I'll read it, yeah. Be it resolved that bylaw 2024-22, being a bylaw to impose fees and charges for the provision of communal sewage services, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Mover and seconder. Barry and Walt, all in favor? Carried. Okay, thank you. Council remuneration. Seems to me we've seen that before, but maybe we haven't.
Yep, this is an annual report to council, and so according to section 284(1) of the Municipal Act, the treasurer of the municipality shall in each year honor before March 31, provide to the council of the municipality an itemized statement on remuneration and expenses in the previous year. So each councillor's per diem and expenditures include payments made directly to the councillor. Other expenses such as conference fees or hotel accommodation paid on behalf of the councillor directly to the third-party vendor are also included in Schedule A. So total payments made in 2023 amounted to $179,384.52.
Okay, it is what it is. Resolution?
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the 2023 council and committee remuneration report as information.
Mover and seconder. Carm and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Okay, next is administration. We
So
should be
this-
like the federal government there. They passed something the other day where if you got one term in, you get your pension for life. Remember, Unbelievable. No wonder we're in a mess. Anyway, administration, who's gonna do that? Well,
So
is
this
OPP.
first one is just the member appointment for the OPP detachment board. We don't have the terms of reference ready yet for the public agenda. I don't know if anyone wants to step in for now, and we could, I assume another member could be appointed. Maybe Tamara could speak to that. If
Well, yeah, needs clarification now again, so that we heard. Guys, this is a lot of work. I sat in on the meeting, and this is not just go to the meeting and you gotta take courses, you gotta pass the courses in order to sit on the committee. It's fairly time consuming. Right now, the mayors are the ones that are appointed to start with, just to get in the groove, and then if you want members of council, fine. But I really don't need that, but I'll do it if to get things started, if that's your wish, so. Unless somebody wants to take on that amount of work.
No,
Well,
at this point, there, I
this-
believe the other townships are appointing the mayors for this inaugural committee. But then there's gonna be another process to appoint a community member after that, I don't think the process has been completely approved yet.
But at the end of a period of time, I could say, well, I can't do it anymore, and I probably will. Somebody from council needs to go there. They're waiting to see if, right now it says mayors in the thing from the province, but they say that we had a lady there that, this is just a police association, by the way, doing this, that we're gonna be paying for again. It's not come from the province, but it's, the guidelines are by the province. Funny setup, but anyway, at some point, she says she thinks they're gonna allow council members, but not outside citizens from like to represent Dyser to be one of you folks. It wouldn't be somebody from off the street. So, but I don't know.
Can it be a staff member of council or?
No,
Yeah.
I don't think so. Well,
Well, why don't, like Tamara was just saying there, the mayors are gonna start it off, get it started, and then we'll address it later on, and one of us will, like, if I have to, I'll throw my name in the hat or whatever, anybody else wants to, but right now, I think the other mayors they're going ahead with it, right, Murray? So you're good with that for now?
well, I don't know about that. I know I sat there for 3 hours the other day, like, didn't think I was gonna be able to walk when I get up in one of them hard chairs.
Well, I don't know if somebody else wants to jump in, but if you're,
I'll do it to start with, but it's
Yeah.
not a long-term thing for me, I can tell you that.
I'll address it later on, as long as anybody else who wants to get involved. Somebody else wants to step up, go right ahead, but somebody's got it, so.
And we gotta get some of the counselors more involved in this stuff for future, so I know that, so we'll make sure we do.
So I'll read the resolution. Be it resolved that council appoints Murray Ferry as the municipal representative for the municipality of Dysart et al. On the County of Halbert OPP Detachment Board.
Okay, mover and seconder. Barry and Pat, all in favor? And that's another thing, there's, I don't know how many people from the general public, they won't allow past OPP officers on the committee, I don't know why. And, but we got quite a few that are OPP officers that are retired here that think they wanna serve. So I don't know, they're trying to get that fixed too, so it makes sense in a way.
Well, what's the purpose of it?
Well, the purpose is to have better communications with the staff sergeant. And he did announce that we're gonna get more OPP, but you know what that does, it's gonna put the cost way up. So it's, but if you have a concern that there's not enough police walking down the street or in the park, that's the kind of thing that I'd take back and say, well, we're not, how many hours are you spending in Halliburton in the parks? And try and get that fixed with the staff sergeant. But we can't overrule them. We can just suggest. So, and you wouldn't want to, it's his job, so. But, life is complicated, guys. Okay. a bylaw to impose fees and charges.
Yeah, so this is we're unfortunately gonna have a fee bylaw again next month, but for this fee bylaw. We have our bylaw enforcement reinspection fee, the fee for supply of smoke alarms by the fire department for non-compliant buildings. Cost recovery when PPE is damaged as a result of response. Our license of occupation and encroachment agreement for short-term rentals. Our memorial bench and plaque fee increase and burning permit increase on this one. So that's the changes, and then we'll have another one coming next month as well.
Okay. Everybody okay with that? Should be starting to gain on the budget here, putting everything up. Move, resolution?
Yeah, so be it resolved that bylaw 2024-23, being a bylaw to impose fees and charges, be read a first, second, and third time, pass, sign, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Mover and seconder. Pat and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Next, they're gonna have that outdoor thing again, eh?
Yeah, so McKex has had their outdoor patio since the start of when it was allowed. So in 2020, the Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario allowed the extension of licensed restaurants to help businesses recover during COVID-19. And everyone in Ontario liked it, so they've continued it to now, basically. So the way it works now is that municipal approval is required. So some businesses will just extend onto private property. McKex is asking to extend onto municipal property, being our parking spots. So as they have done in previous years, and council did approve this in 2023, they're asking for 3 parking spots, and they put up barriers, and their hours of operations are from 11:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. And then the regulation makes sure that it's a short amount of time, because obviously if you're going to extend permanently, you need to change your license. So they're asking for the Friday before Victoria Day to Thanksgiving Monday for the period of time for the patio.
Yeah, they had it last year, right?
Yeah, this is the same thing they've had, every year.
We've never had any complaint or anything, have we, Melanie, or have we? I like it, but.
Yeah, not to me. They might have come to a different department. But I don't know. Tamara, are you aware of any complaints or?
I haven't been advised of any.
Yeah.
The thing I've ever heard is big trucks, big long trucks. Are hard and pretty tight to get around that corner.
But either way, if they're there or if there's cars there.
Yeah, it's
tight.
still gonna be
It's
the
still
same
gonna be
thing.
tight, right? So.
Yeah, it's just the thought that there's people there. And
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Okay, Mallory?
Okay, I'll read the resolution. Be it resolved that council authorizes McKex Tap and Grill to make use of 3 municipal parking spots located in front of 207 Highland Street for a temporary patio extension in 2024, provided that the following criteria is met. Patio plans must be submitted to staff detailing a patio layout. Owners must work with staff to ensure that appropriate barricades are put in place for safety and emergency access. McKex Tap and Grill must obtain and submit proof of insurance, naming the municipality as additionally insured. As per OREG 35222 under the Liquor License and Control Act 2019, the capacity of the area which the extension applies must allow for at least 1.11 square meters per person, and the patio must open no sooner than Friday, May 17th, and must be removed by October 14th.
Okay. Mover and seconder. Barry and Tammy, all in favor? Carried. Okay, thank you. Now, planning and land. Who's next here?
Yeah, that's me. So this is for the application that we heard this morning for the
Smart
Lands of
file.
Smart file there, and no comments or concerns from the public or from or any neighboring property owners. And the recommendation was to approve the application.
And we did agree to that this morning. So resolution, Mallory?
Gotta unmute myself. Be it resolved that bylaw 2024-28, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2005-120 for the lands of Smart and Smart 5 Holdings Incorporated, which consists of part lots 8 and 9, concession 8, parts 1 to 3, registered plan 19R-3957, part 9, registered plan 19R-3776 in the geographic township of Dudley, municipality of Dysart et al., which would change the zone on the subject property from rural type 1L and waterfront residential type 4L zone to rural type 1L zone, waterfront residential type 4L zone, waterfront residential type 4L-9 exception zone, waterfront residential type 3L zone, and environmental protection zone. Be read a first, second, and third time, pass, sign, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay. Mover and seconder. Nancy and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Okay. License of occupation, this is the one Carm you called about? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, thank you. So council did review this file last month and directed staff to process this application. So today we're returning with a bylaw to authorize the execution of a license of occupation agreement with Cameron and Folliot for use of a shore road allowance along Green Lake Road. To reduce administration, we made a slight change, and the agreement now requires that the fee be paid at the beginning of the term. So if council would like to change that, we can go back and update the agreement, but we did update that just because instead of going back and asking for invoicing them every year if they forget to pay, it's just to pay the entire term up front. Subject to any council concerns, staff recommend approval of this bylaw.
I think it's Carm, you?
Yes, Maria, I spoke to these people a few times and they're willing to remove the dock and the stairs to get away from the license of occupation. If we can agree to that.
Would that do the trick, Jeff? I think it will with the building department.
Yeah, that's all they want to do. They want to just finish what they got. They remove the deck and the stairs and then they can just move forward without a license of occupation.
If you're looking for some policy direction, so the encroachment bylaw and policy 32, which is the policy that governs use of road allowances, provides direction for council in this regard. So the encroachment bylaw notes that any encroachment, even if it's just a dock on our property, requires some sort of council approval. The encroachment bylaw says that the appropriate method would be a license of occupation. Policy 32. So council's the stewards of the road allowances on behalf of the public. Policy 32 does permit owners of land across the road from a public highway from a lake that they can use that shore road allowance, but subject to a license of occupation. So even if it is just a dock.
Well, you've got thousands of them.
With the whole lake's that way, so I don't know how, we don't want to start a whole, a feud between the whole lake and the very landowner.
No. Well, I think we need to use some common sense here, but I understand planning's position on it. That's what it says.
And at least they're willing to compromise a little bit, right? They're willing to give a little to bend to our rules, right?
Well, maybe we can defer it then and talk to them again.
Yeah, I spoke to him again this morning and he said if we can do he would definitely remove the deck and the stairs.
But the dock would still be there.
Well, the dock is still there, but it's out in the water.
But
Everybody's dock's there and everybody else's deck and stairs are there. I don't want to feel like we're just picking on one person either.
So how do we change? I don't know, I concerned like you, like there's so many of
I
them,
know.
not just in that, like
The whole
there's so
road,
many.
yeah.
So, and sounds like, Jeff, you correct me if I'm wrong here, it's like we almost have to do something. Is that correct? Or can we say we don't want to do anything, or do we have to do something? And maybe we change the $500 fee to a really, I don't know what to do there. I
Well, it's
just
the
don't.
$500 fee and the insurance. The insurance is like $300 a year.
It's a $5 million
Yeah.
liability thing too, right? So. I don't know, that's a whole.
It's about $800 to start with a year.
Yes.
I think insurance and liability is one of the main things we're after here. So my own opinion is if they maintain it and They just provide proof from insurance and a slight monetary fee to the township for
Cover it.
administration, like $100 or, it's my own opinion. I think that we can work with that. I
Well,
don't
I'm
want
just
to
worried
make it prohibitive.
But the only thing is, if we make this person do it, and then the neighbor next door has got one each side, it's just gonna we just wanna send this down the whole lake and the next lake and the next lake and the next lake, right?
Yeah.
So the reason this came up, Jeff, was the application, right?
Correct. This is a condition of a minor variance approval.
Okay. Oh, okay, this came from the minor variance committee.
Yes.
Okay.
And may I ask, Councillor Sawyer, what is their concern with the license of occupation? So I understand, is it the cost of the
Yeah,
fee, the annual fee to use our road allowance, or is it the
Yeah,
insurance?
No, well, the insurance is definitely, because they have to get a whole nother policy, and they said it's an extra $300 a year for this extra coverage on top of what they already have. And then there's a license fee, but then they kind of feel, well, why does the rest of the lake not have to have this and we do?
Well, it's a good point. And as I mentioned, council are stewards of the road allowance on behalf of the public. These are public road allowances that are supposed to be used by the public, and they're being blocked for use by the public. So it would make sense for these to be opened up for use by the public, and if not, council to obtain some sort of fees for use of our road allowance. If not, the biggest thing to look at is liability. I understand the applicant's concern, but from the municipalities, for our protection, if something were to happen on our shore road allowance for the use of these structures on our property, we would be liable for it as opposed to the applicant. So getting us a liability policy, I think, is in the best interest of the municipality.
The only thing, Jeff, there, that I think we're all kind of questioning is that they're gonna have it on their piece of property, but if you took 1 foot step over onto somebody else's piece, they don't have it. So how does that work?
Are we gonna run into these with the short-term rentals? Like they're gonna have to do these licenses, occupations, and some of them are gonna be in this situation across the road, so. I think it's gonna start happening anyway to some of those neighbors perhaps, depending on whether there's rentals in those areas.
But they're also applying for a license for a business, right?
Yeah,
This
But-
guy's just as,
but it's the same rule for everyone, like the license of occupation policy affects everyone the same. That's all staff are saying is if you change it for one, we've got a whole lot of other fires going right now that affect the same thing.
Man, I don't know what the answer to that is.
Well, needless to say, there's a lot of this going on, not just in Dysart. And I think it's time that we do address this and spend some time and think about this, because just like Carm says, Barry says, this guy's gonna, if he gets his license occupation, what about his neighbors all the way down the road? We don't want to think that we're not following up on everybody who's doing the exact same thing. I think we should spend some quality time here, and because there's gonna be so many of these situations coming up.
so can we maybe, Murray, allow them to finish their building permit on the house, get what need done, and then we defer this till we come up with a solution?
Yeah, we can, provided he moves the stairs and the
Okay,
ramp,
and we'll just leave it.
and let the building permit go ahead and just defer the rest of it. Can we do that? Yep.
I think I would have to go back and look at the wording of the Committee of Adjustment condition. If it says they are to obtain a license of occupation for those structures prior to the issuance of a building permit, they would not be able to get their building permit until this was rectified.
Unless I went back to the committee again.
They would have to go back to the committee and apply for a change to that condition.
Barry just wanna look here and see what it says.
Yeah.
I'm not very fast.
And if I could just point out for council, so our existing level of service in terms of enforcement is to enforce these on a case-by-case basis. That was the most recent council direction, is not to go after every single one, but when we became aware of them, it was to try and bring them into compliance.
That's the same as illegal buildings. Same thing.
Yep, correct.
Jeff, sorry, I don't want to interrupt everyone. If council authorizes their ability to continue with a license of occupation agreement, do they have to continue with it? I don't know if I'm wording that correctly. So so say we pass oh no, we're to the bylaw stage, aren't we? So that's pretty much towards the end. Sorry, I was getting mixed up. I thought we were earlier in the process.
Yeah, so we're at the bylaw stage now. Council
Yeah.
approved for processing last month.
Right.
Alternatively, they could remove the structures from our road allowance, which would satisfy, I think, the committee's condition, but I don't think that's what they want.
Well, they'd like to keep the dock. They're okay with the stairs and the deck going.
Yeah, and the policy is very clear. It says a dock does require a license of occupation. Stairs and a deck are not typically supported by our policy, but in this instance, council chose to support those.
Rock and hard place. I don't know what the answer is. Well, I think we got a can of worms here.
Well, why don't we, again, just get this guy on his way, get him moving, and then make it part of our agenda next council meeting to dive into this a bit more. Like I said, my own opinion is insurance, and then keep the costs as little as you can to allow the people that have the stuff now the freedom to do what they want with it, just as long as we're covered, that's all.
In other words, defer this. So that's what we're gonna do, I guess, then, is defer this. And
Okay, I'll read that. Be it resolved that bylaw 2024-29, being a bylaw to authorize execution of a license of occupation agreement with Cameron and Folliot for use of the shore road allowance in front of road allowance for Green Lake Road in part lots 2 and 3, concession 5 in the geographic township of Guilford be deferred.
Can I get you to hold there? I just want to read something from the Committee of Adjustments, if that's okay. And Jeff, you can correct me here. It says, prior to the pouring of footings, applicant must remove the dock, stairs, and deck located on the municipally owned road allowance or make application for a license of occupancy. So that's how it read in the, I believe that's how it read in the
so they
Committee of
included the dock
Adjustments.
then.
So it did include the dock, but can we change that, or does that have to go
Well-
back to Committee of Adjustments to do that?
Well, you can't get back to the committee unless you resubmit, can you? Once they've dealt with it, you have to make another application to go back before the committee, do you not?
And that's a good question. I don't know that off the top of my head. I would have to look at that process to change I believe they have to make another application to change their condition, but I'd have to go back and look at that to be sure.
The insurance enough to stay $800 a year.
Problem is, I bet you it's 500. Yeah, I know. Well, I think we got an issue here because whatever we do here, we're gonna have to, and we've already made some people do this.
This is kind of precedent setting here.
Yeah. Well, I think we have to.
I just text him, see what he wants. If maybe he'll say, I'll move the dock. I don't know. I'll see what he says.
Well, he might remove the dock.
Yeah. Fine. Some of them are a good time.
But he'd have to remove it all to avoid the license of occupation. And put it back next year.
When they go through an application like this, and that's a condition.
He gets licensed. So where do we hold? Like, where does the dock become Wolstenton Fisheries versus Dysart?
I don't know, it's out in the water, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's gotta be attached to the shore. If there's a space in the water, does that make it?
Yeah.
Are there questions for us? Because I don't think anyone's got their mics on.
So Carm's asking, if the dock's out in the water and not on the land, is that our jurisdiction? Depends where the road allowance is and you need a survey to see that.
And again, I'm going directly from our policy, which talks about the encroachment bylaw, and policy 32, permission to use road allowance. It specifically talks about docks. being located on municipal road allowances. I believe even the definition of marine facility in our zoning bylaw says it has to be attached to the ground above the high water mark. So that would be our road allowance in that location.
Anyway, we're deferring it, right? I don't know what the answer is, but we'll try and find one. Okay, Mallory?
Yeah, we just need a mover and seconder for that one.
Yeah, okay, Tammy and Barry, all in favor? Okay, next is this telecommunication tower on Dudley Road.
Yes, thank you. The applicants are here today to answer any questions that council may have, but I'll start in the meantime. So this report pertains to a proposed 91-meter guide tower on a property located near Blueberry Trail and Dudley Road, just east of Drag Lake. This is part of the Eorn Cell Gap project. During the public consultation process, the applicants received 4 sets of comments. These comments have been provided to council and are summarized in the report. Most of the questions related to co-location and evaluation of alternative sites, about process and whether the public consultation process was adequate. There was other questions received about the former municipal policy 38, which was rescinded in 2023. Other concerns related to lighting and impacts on surrounding landscape. And then there was a comment that was also received in support of the application. Rogers Communication, they note that the tower, which is positioned on high ground for functionality, has been nestled within dense foliage to mitigate the visual impact as much as possible from surrounding land uses. Rogers is now requesting that the proposal be considered complete and is that we issue formal statement of concurrence for this tower. If council does choose to offer concurrence, a resolution is provided. Staff have recommended a couple conditions related to retention of the vegetation around the base of the tower and the access point, as well as mitigating lighting impacts. As mentioned, Victoria and Jeff McKay are here to speak to this application and answer any questions that council may have.
Thank you very much, Jeff, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council, staff, and public. We really appreciate you spending the time kind of to review these. We know that you've had a lot, especially with this Eorn project that's come through. We know that you have seen a lot of these, and you know, we apologize that we're always here, but it's great to see that your community is getting these towers and getting the service that they really deserve and really need in these areas. As Jeff mentioned, this is it's off Blueberry Trail. It is on a high hill, but it's also tucked among the trees to kind of help conceal it. We have done a thorough candidate selection analysis to ensure that we're not just arriving and choosing the first candidate, but we're choosing the best possible candidate in each of these circumstances. We have completed the public consultation based off the CPC process. Now there are, you know, as Jeff mentioned, there are some questions about policy 38. And again, it's more so members and public who know the policy and were around for it and, you know, included their questions in previous sites. And then now it's a slightly different process. We ensured that we answered every question we could, and we ensured that the information was provided. But again, any change in process, there are sometimes questions and concerns. So we've done everything we can to address those. Now, if there's any questions you have, I would be happy to do whatever I can to answer them.
I have one. It's not related to the tower so much, but you're putting these towers in Halliburton County and you're hiring an outside contractor to do all the grading and all the work. So it'd be a lot easier for us to justify some of this stuff if some of the economy was coming here.
I do understand that, and that's definitely our intention at times. There's times such as like just small road work, the access work, and whenever we can, we do hire local people. However, the Eorn project, as you understand, is a huge project. So of course they need contractors who they're familiar with. But whenever we can bring those small jobs to the local municipality, that's something we definitely look to do.
We haven't seen any yet that I'm aware of, but
I'm not sure about specific sites here, but I do know there's definitely been people have helped us with access. Definitely, rather than making those access roads to the towers, there have been local contractors who have helped with access for a fair number of sites. But again, it depends on kind of what's available in the area and having those relationships built.
As long as we're trying, that's important.
Absolutely.
Okay, any questions? I don't think I've heard any concerns on this tower. Have you, Barry?
Yeah, well, there was a few letters in here, but I think
Yeah.
they addressed everything.
Yeah,
and
they
it-
did.
And everything went,
Nancy, you
As
not
according.
familiar with anything? Yeah. Okay, Mallory?
Okay. Be it resolved that council concurs with the proposed 91-meter guide telecommunication tower in part lots 11 and 2, concession 7, site C8608 in the geographic township of Dudley. The existing vegetation buffer shall be maintained around the proposed tower. The tower access road is to be designed and screened with vegetation to minimize the visual impact of the tower by immediate neighbors. Lighting shall be the minimum required to meet safety standards, and shielding shall be installed to deflect the light from being directed toward the ground.
Okay. Resolution? Mover and seconder. Nancy and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. This is the Smart and Smart 5 holdings again.
Yes, you may recognize this property from the public meeting this morning. So this report relates to an application by the Smarts and Smart 5 Holdings to purchase the shore road allowance in front of their properties on Drag Lake. The locations of the dwelling and private cabin on one of the properties, you can see that they're located on the shore road allowance. Their locations are recognized by the official plan. Subject to any council questions, staff recommend approval to process this application.
Any questions? Move, Nancy?
I have a question for Jeff. I was reading back in the initial one, and the private cabin that was first assessed in 1996, I believe, didn't have a building permit. Has that come into factor anywhere in this?
Oh, let me just review this real quick. So the single-story log cabin located on the shore road allowance, it was first assessed in 1968. So its location is recognized. So the dwelling was 1948 and the private cabin was 1968.
Pre-existing bylaw then.
Correct. So as per our official plan, they recognize those structures as having legal non-compliant status.
Right. Okay, any other questions? Okay, Mallory?
Okay. Be resolved that council approves for processing a joint application by Mr. and Mrs. Smart and Smart 5 Holdings Incorporated to purchase a portion of the shore road allowance along the shore of Drag Lake in front of their properties in part lots 8 and 9, concession 9 in the geographic township of Dudley. These lands are declared surplus.
Mover and seconder, Nancy and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Okay, next.
Yeah, the next item is an application by Janice Culp to purchase the shore road allowance in front of her property on Halliburton Lake. She would like to construct a new dwelling, but does not have sufficient lot area. So purchasing the shore road allowance will provide her with additional land to help her comply with the zoning bylaw lot coverage requirements. The location of the boathouse and decks, which are located on the shore road allowance, are recognized by the official plan. And staff request permission to process this application.
Okay, resolution?
Be it resolved that council approves for processing an application by Janice Culp to purchase a portion of the shore road allowance along the shore of Halliburton Lake in front of her property in part lot 14, concession 4 in the geographic township of Harburn. These lands are declared surplus.
Mover and seconder, Barry and Walt, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Next is,
Yeah, so the next is another Shore Road Allowance application by the Princess Margaret Cancer Foundation, who own a property on Drag Lake. Staff have no particular concerns and seek permission to process this application.
do they have a building on that lot?
Oh, I have a site plan showing a building, but I'm thinking, oh, they're in the middle of construction, so they recently obtained a building permit, and it looks like it's almost completed.
Is this one they're gonna raffle off then, or? I wonder they do that sometimes. Good publicity for us if it is. Okay, resolution.
Be it resolved that council approves for processing an application by the Princess Margaret Cancer Foundation to purchase a portion of the Shore Road allowance along the shore of Drag Lake in front of their property in Part Lot 6, Concession 10 in the geographic township of Dudley. These lands are declared surplus.
Okay, mover and seconder. Nancy and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Okay, the next one won't be so quick, I don't think.
Yeah, and this is our last item, and it's just a returning file. Council reviewed a similar report at the meeting in February and advised staff that they wanted more time to review the file before providing direction. So staff are here today to see if council is ready to provide direction.
Anybody want to touch that?
Murray, I had a visit with a guy yesterday from Kenese, and he'd like us to see us drop a draft or something so they could see what we're really asking for exactly. So I don't know if we can do something like that.
Yeah, I think we're just asking the official plan, the way it's worded, to change it so it allows these things. Is that right, Jeff?
Well, in my opinion, it's actually a substantial change to our official plan policies. The main objectives of or one of the primary objectives of our official plan is the natural looking shorelines, and keeping the structures out of the setbacks. So I think this is a substantial change. As per the past reports, it's not so easy just to come up with just a draft policy. If they're looking at what council's contemplating in the report from last month in February, I provided what I thought was council's direction. So it outlines that council was, and this is just in terms of the structures in the setback, not the shipping containers in the rural and commercial areas. But in terms of the structures within the setback, it looked like council would like to permit one structure, whether it was a shed, a sauna, or a gazebo, to be within the water setback. It would be permitted in all zones: residential, commercial, industrial, institutional, and rural. A minimum water setback would be 4 meters. A maximum floor area of that structure would be 15 square meters or 161 square feet. The shore road allowance would need to be purchased if it was on our property. And if necessary, they would have to obtain a building permit as well. So that's what I was seeking confirmation from council regarding last month.
So that's a pretty straightforward proposal to show the Cottage Association what we're wanting. I don't know why they won't accept that or why they want something more.
Well, I mean, you should be able to understand that.
I would have thought so.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what to do with this. This is a fairly major undertaking, I think. You'll be dragged out to the land tribunal on this one for sure. So it won't pass smooth.
Can we grandfather what's already there and new builds would follow the original official plan that we have? But when something comes, like how many times has it happened already? That it be grandfathered in? Because I don't think that the cottagers realize that over half of them don't comply.
Oh, well,
So if we grandfather, all it is adding grandfathered in.
Yeah.
Is that going to be the same process?
Well, but the grandfathering would have to take place before the official plan was amended. And how would you prove that? Yeah.
Yes, thank you. So the term grandfather relates to the term legal non-complying status. So for a building to have legal non-complying status, it had to legally exist before the bylaw was passed. So in this instance, the municipality put policies in their official plan and zoning bylaw that the water setback was, I believe, 20 meters since 1977. So they would have had to exist since prior to 1977 to have that grandfathered status.
You know, unfortunately, the official plan refers to some of these rules all the way through it. It's not just one section that needs change, right?
That's correct.
So it's probably a consultant's job. So I don't know where we want to go, what we want to do. Do we want to have a think tank or something, just devote a couple hours to this?
Well, Murray, why don't we get that, what Jeff drew up the last time, and we'll get a copy of that and we'll submit it to these cottage associations. Say,
Right.
this is exactly what we want to do. Cause that's what they keep saying. What do you exactly want to do?
Yeah.
And I thought it was pretty cut and dry, but they
Yeah.
don't seem to think so. So why don't we just defer it for another month? We'll get
Well,
that out there.
I think they're suspicious of us, that's why.
Well, but I told them yesterday that I'd talked to numerous people that wanted it on the lake. I went around the one lake and seen all the structures. And they just basically told me, we want them all taken down. Well, if we do that,
Well, you can't.
the people are gonna be furious.
It's a dog's breakfast. And I think probably everybody that has a ward on with water on has heard about this from associations. Maybe Tammy doesn't. But,
I don't think they do, because I do remember talking to one association, and it was just the board members that made the decision to write to council to say
yeah,
it isn't the whole membership. So I don't think the membership of the lake associations actually know.
maybe not.
But if we're going to this spring, how many associations have their annual general meeting? We might be able to help get them to understand what we're actually doing.
Well, once we know what we want to do, I think we need to have a public meeting.
That would be
Invite
required
everybody to it
anyway,
and
wouldn't
listen
it?
to everybody.
Jeff,
Sorry, was there a question?
wouldn't that be required anyway? Like if you were to hire a consultant, wouldn't the public process be part of that requirement?
Correct. Yeah, a public meeting will be required to change the official plan and zoning bylaw. However, given the level of interest in this, I do recommend an enhanced public consultation process. It might be worthwhile having an open house where you could invite public stakeholders in to voice their opinion on these changes.
Well, let's send that out, see the feedback, develop a policy and have a public meeting and when everybody's here and let them voice their opinion.
Make sure it's in the newspapers and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's right, online. Yeah,
Online,
right, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
And we
Okay.
can take any cottage association meetings that we have to attend, we
Yep.
can make sure we get the word out too, right?
Yeah, and make sure you know where your car is parked.
Yeah.
And are we going to run both of them together? The commercial shipping containers, or we're just going to do
Well,
the?
that's
They should be separate.
kind of a different thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it should be separate.
If
Yeah.
you're meeting the requirements of the public planning requirements, you probably want to have as much as you can in one, because it's gonna be you're gonna be engaging a consultant, engaging public, like,
Yeah.
it's just an overall zone.
Well, we may not even get to the consultant stage if we'll see what happens.
Have we got any feedback from the storage containers? So can we go ahead with that
Well-
separate or not?
Incorporate together for cost wise.
Yeah, we should, because, you're gonna pay twice. Yeah, you gotta advertise it. So you want them on rural residential lots and industrial, right? Yeah, oh, I know, cheapest way to build. Yes, Jeff.
And I'm just going back to my original report on this in terms of the shipping containers in the commercial zone. So the report did outline some concerns of allowing 3 shipping containers on each lot downtown. So staff recommend consultation with the BIA before maybe proceeding with that change.
Another one of Pat's list. You might as well tell them you got the agenda for tonight, Pat.
No problem.
Okay, okay, so that's going forward to the BIA. Okay,
Should I just read a resolution to receive the staff report?
yeah,
Okay. Be it resolved that council receive the staff report related to the discussion to amend policies to permit structures in the minimum water setback and shipping containers in the commercial and rural zones.
okay, mover and seconder. Carmen, Tammy, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Reports of committees, thanks, Jeff and Chris. Reports of committees and local agencies, Harcourt, Hall, anything? You're working on the recreation,
Yes, we're working on the playground and they're getting busier by the month, so they're happy.
okay? West Guilford, no me?
Nothing really going on, Maria. We found a guy to come in and paint, so we've shut it down for a week and he's coming in to paint the
Oh,
whole
good.
upstairs and the hallway and everything, so
Freshen it up. huh?
freshen it up. It's been 20 years.
Good. Rails End, Nancy?
Had a meeting this week by Zoom as there was some ill members. They're very, very busy. They're trying to get organized and get ready for their summer show. There's some discussion about having an assessment done of the bricks and mortar of the building that we own, so that they can make some longer range planning of needs for rehabilitation to the building.
Like, who does that? Who does
There-
the assessment?
There's lots of different companies
Yeah.
that do it.
Okay. And who pays for those? I guess the Rails End try and get grants, don't they, for?
But what they do, they may ask for a partnership
Yeah.
in paying for it because it is our building, so I'm not sure, but
Yeah, we'll see. They've been so good getting the grants so far.
yes, for sure.
Yep. Okay, resolution then?
Yeah, be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the March 2024 Rails End Gallery and Art Center report.
Mover and seconder, Nancy and Carm, all in favor? Carried. BIA, Pat, you're going tonight?
Yep, going tonight. Maureen, it wasn't much from the last meeting, just finalizing the budget and everything moving along. So anyway.
Well, good luck tonight. Harvest Halliburton, obviously they haven't met, have they? Source protection, Walt,
Yeah, I'm going to a meeting on Thursday by
Okay.
Zoom.
and Upper Trent Water Management.
Yeah, we did have a meeting in early March and they're gonna talk to the Muskoka Watershed Council about some stuff that they've got on the go up there and how we can maybe incorporate some of that in this area. But the biggest thing, I guess, that most people are talking about is the water levels, which they are very, very concerned about.
Should be.
The logs are now in the dams, which normally doesn't happen until after the ice is out. So people may hopefully not, but get prepared for maybe some dock damage and stuff this year because the water's gonna come up. Ice is still in the lake, it's gonna have room to move. And that could create some havoc.
And we're gonna have low water, unless we get a lot of rain.
Yeah, so they're really praying for rain. It's a major concern about this year.
Yeah.
Other than that, that's about it.
It's good. It's a big concern. I remember back one time there, you couldn't even get to the water. It's that much, the water levels were that low. Like a place like Kenese, it could drop 15 feet. Okay, minutes and recommendations from the draft Cultural Resources Committee members.
Okay, so I'll read a resolution for the minutes. So be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the draft minutes from the February 22nd Cultural Resources Committee as information.
Okay, that's the minutes of the meeting. Mover and seconder. Pat and Walt, all in favor? Carried. Okay, committee membership.
Yeah, so I'll speak to this a bit. So we did advertise for to fill the community positions a while back. So on the way the current structure works is that there's three community representatives. So one is a media representative, one is business community, and one is a young professional. So the young professional representative has been filled. But they still have two vacant, media and business community. So what Cultural Resources is asking is if we can make those 3 positions open to the community, being Dysart, rather than giving them those titles, just so that it might make it easier to recruit. Cultural Resources currently has 8 members on it, which is the same amount as Glebe Park. So it's a matter of just council considering what they'd like to see for the makeup of the committee as well. Which is why Cultural Resources is bringing it back as a recommendation.
Do we not think 5 is enough on those 2 committees? But I guess we've had 8, so I don't know. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it depends on, there's quite a few stakeholders in Cultural Resources, which is probably why historically, because in Cultural Resources, each person is representing a certain group. Where you get to the public is where, if you have 3 members of the public and it's just open, it could be from really anywhere. I think the idea in the past, I wasn't here when it was developed, but I do think they were trying to get people from the media and from business and then a young person, so that they could have kind of a good mix of people participating in the committee. But basically, because recruitment it's been difficult to recruit that way. When you limit it to media members and a business representative, it's difficult to get someone to apply. Which is what we found last time we put it out. So.
I could,
Go ahead.
I could ask someone, well, the BIA, I'll run it by them to see if they're interested in maybe putting someone on there. I do see, if there's a lot of stakeholders, weighing in on different things moving forward. If
Yeah.
it's volunteer position, I don't see a harm in it, really.
No.
And the only thing about that committee is that the person, we wanted in the past for the community representatives who come in, they should live in Dysart. So that's really limited as well, because there's people that don't live in Dysart that might want to contribute. But if you're coming as a community representative, we've kind of in the past said you probably should be a resident. Where that kind of, and that's where when we were recruiting before, we asked the BIA if one of their staff members actually would be on it, but they don't live in Dysart, so that kind of limited us a little bit as well. So it's up to council if they want to accept a new structure where it's more open, or I don't know if Pat wants to talk to the BIA to see if we can get that business representative in. But that's for council to discuss.
I'll put that as item 6 on my BIA meeting tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's, so will you have to advertise again then, Mallory?
Yep, so if council approves this structure where we just get 2 additional members of the community and we don't limit it, I'll advertise in both papers. I'll put it on the website and I'll advertise on social media. Last time I ran it for a month and then I came back to council and said, here's what we got, basically. So I can do that structure again if that makes sense to everyone, so.
Okay. All right. So I guess there's a few things that we didn't make decisions on today. We didn't decide.
Murray, do you want me to read the resolution for that one? Yeah, that's okay. So be it resolved, the Dysart All Council accepts the recommendation from the Cultural Resources Committee to change the committee membership to be comprised of a representative from the Arts Council, Haliburton Highlands, a representative from the Haliburton Highlands Museum, a representative from the Haliburton Sculpture Forest, a representative from the Haliburton County Development Corporation, a representative from the Rails and Gallery, a representative from the Haliburton School of Art and Design, a representative from Haliburton County Public Library, a representative from Dysart All Council, and 3 members of the community. And further directs that staff advertise for 2 additional members of the community to serve on the Cultural Resources Committee for the remainder of the 2022 to 2026 term of council. And further directs that an updated appointment bylaw be brought to a future meeting of council to reflect the proposed changes.
Yeah, mover and seconder. Pardon? Yeah. Okay. Okay, we need mover and seconder then. Carmen, Nancy, all in favor? Carrie. Okay, we've got some leftover business then. Let's deal with Greg Brown first. No, well, we did, but did we do all of it? Yeah, we did see before. So we agreed that the letter of credit was fine. The question is now, and we're gonna release the lots. Question is, today, and I guess we need Rob on there to answer that. Why we need to do the whole subdivision before we take on half, the first half? We already went in partway now.
So my one suggestion I got is he's got the lots valued at $20,000 at the time for security. They're
Yeah.
worth a whole lot more now.
Oh, I know they
So
are.
we're holding back $200,000-$300,000 of security actually.
Right.
So should that be compensated or should we hold two? and
Well,
give
we
them
should
two?
get, we should get an estimate, a safe estimate of what it's gonna cost to do it. He sounded like he's still gonna do it. I don't know.
Do you guys want Rob to report back on this? It might be more helpful
I
if,
think that would be helpful.
okay, so just on the assumption, road assumption aspect of this?
Yeah. And,
So I can
and
make
an
note.
cost estimate, what it would do to finish those roads. He has.
Cost estimate to finish the road.
So that's
Okay.
easy.
Okay,
Okay, apparently the council is, I forgot about this, is the sign by law.
yeah,
So is there any concerns other than that first sign? And he said they would abandon it. But I still have a concern that they haven't got an entrance permit. Yeah, they shouldn't be putting signs out anywhere until they get. Well, Sylvan said he can't find it. He's told them, but they haven't applied.
But they don't, I guess their opinion is that they're not coming out onto the county road.
So they don't need it. But if you build a second house on the lot on the county road, you'd need an entrance permit.
Not if it's the same driveway.
Oh, okay. But this is a little different. This is commercial. Anyway, I think the county dropped the ball there, big time. They had a driveway into Brooklyn Concrete. They're not even going in, they're going in Hops Drive. And out. It's a nightmare, folks.
so Murray, we did defer that one, but I wonder if council wants to send any questions they might have and a report could come back about that one?
Yeah, I think we need to communicate with the county there and see what they're gonna do.
Has anybody discussed with them about going out, making a driveway entrance out onto?
Apparently
is
the
it
guy that
Mallard?
owns the other side of Hops Drive has talked to them, but they don't return his call. They think they've got it approved, so they don't need to do anything. When I look back at the meeting where it was discussed in the last council, and they spent all their time worrying about the facade on the dollar store and then didn't change anything. Never even looked at traffic patterns or entrances or exits or traffic flow.
Yeah.
And I know
The
there's,
other problem is too, if they get out at the far end of the parking lot,
yeah,
that's like 20 feet of muskeg there, number one. Number two, you get onto that road, you still gotta come around by the old country roads, and
Yeah.
it's a bottleneck now.
Well, we'd have to, I think there's lights
They're planning lights.
at some point in time we're going in there, right?
well, I'm trying to push them ahead because they were talking 2 years from now. Good Lord, you'll never get out of there.
No, so if we did put an entry, or if they did put an entrance out on the Mallard, then yes, the lights would have to come in to meet pretty much the same time.
For, offer a bit of relief, but on the
Yeah.
same note, it just to me depends, like, there's a turning lane, I have to go down and look at, there's a turning lane in front of Halliburton Lumber now, right?
Mhm.
Lots of blasting there, but on the same note, I guess it just depends whether, I don't know, how many cars are we going through this here in a day? Anybody?
And what-
1,500 in the summer. A day. That's a lot of cars and it'll be another 300 or 400.
No.
But
It's the
what,
busiest road in the county.
what can we do, Mary? Like, a lot of this seems to be county issue.
Well, it is, but we need to have input at the county.
Right.
Like, I don't want to just sit here and let it happen without us
Yeah.
expressing concern about it.
So are they must be in a collective agreement or something to share the burden of Hops Drive with whoever owns the beer store now?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Well, they had the right to come in there. That's all they have is the right to drive on.
Okay. They're well into it, so I hope we can find
Oh,
a reason.
it's not easy
Solution.
it's not easy. I know people that have been really trying to come up with answers and they just haven't done it. Not a suitable one. So I don't know if they could, like you're right, that's muskeg in there. And you gotta cross that water. I don't
Yeah.
know if you can go this side of, his bit by the little creek there.
You'd have to cross the creek.
Where you're
Or
talking,
you
you're
may
talking
have to
about
make the
going out
entrance
the other
wide.
way, you're talking about, no?
But it would have to be a common entrance between both the beer store and them, no matter, to me, how it works. To put two entrances side by side that close will cause mayhem, traffic.
You're talking, which way are you talking about? Sorry, Pat, you're talking on the count, the 121, or you talking out of?
121 now.
Okay.
Yeah, I've kind of put the back entrance off of my own mind out the burn. It's just too problematic to get a road across it.
I think you could, sorry, I think you could put one out the back road if if you're right tight to that fence that's there to, no, to, Bron
Bron-
Construction. had it.
Bronze, yeah.
It's doable right there if you had a. if
Yeah,
you
I
had
was
to
thinking
get
more of the creek
But
side.
again, it really doesn't mean anything if you don't get those lights to, at the industrial park.
No, and
road.
that's not very far from that intersection of, Industrial Park Road either, when you come out there.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have cars lined up there, trying to get out on industrial, into the other road.
Yeah.
It's a jackpot.
Murray,
I think the big problem is that, I think the decisions have already been made, or they wouldn't be anywhere near as far
Exactly.
along as they are.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know who dropped the ball here, but somebody sure did, because, when you think of the, traffic flow that's gonna be going in there, and I'm sure they thought that everything's fine and dandy, or else they sure wouldn't be having building that 10,000 square foot, and, A&W is going up, and the gas pumps, and
Well,
so I think they, that horse might have left the barn.
I think that, just what you said, Walt, the design's already been done and,
Yeah.
and they drove piles there. So to alter, traffic routes through that parking lot's not gonna be easy. I just
Well,
think that
yeah,
we work with them, trying to.
Make the best deal we can
Make
make.
the best
Yeah.
deal we can, even if they do come out to Hops Drive, but expand the Hops Drive culvert and that type of stuff to accommodate that traffic as well.
And maybe include that third lane
Right.
in another direction.
Yeah. Let's make it work.
Well,
Anyway,
we
that's
got
what
no
I'm-
choice right now. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Well, I think it's gone way too far.
I'm gonna do what I can and Walt and I can do to expedite the lights. Because I'm telling you, if you were up in there, well, you guys were up in there, you know, now it's 10 times worse. Like there's 700 and 800 cars a day at the dump, at the landfill site.
And it's very unsafe too. When you go to, you're trying to make a left-hand turn towards, town. And a car's got room to pull up alongside you on the right-hand side that's making a right-hand turn. You can't see what's coming.
No,
And everybody tries to get out of there as quick as they
Oh, I
can.
know.
And I don't blame them because it's, you want to go when you get the chance, but.
no, it's kind of a mess.
I have a
So,
question, just a
Yes.
quick question. Since it's a county and it's not we can't make any decisions on it, is there any reason that we can't pass the signage? Like, there are two different things, aren't they?
well, they are, but
I don't have a problem with signage in general, but I think there's gonna be lots going on there other than putting a sign on that corner, the way, that sign 15. I don't think that that's a good idea. Right.
That's the one that he agreed to, that they didn't necessarily have to have that, right?
Yeah. People are gonna know it's there. It's not a hidden entrance and all the stuff's not hidden. They're gonna see it when you drive by. I don't think. that
So,
sign should be-
so I guess like Tammy's saying, could
Yeah.
we pass the sign thing with eliminating that?
good, don't forget, we haven't seen where they're gonna put the Dollarama, A&W, and the gas bar, where they're putting that sign.
It's gonna have to all be on wood. That's what he
We
agreed.
don't have to be on one, we don't know the size, we don't know.
Yeah, you don't want
But that-
blocking, the other, commercial businesses that are already established on the other piece of property
Wouldn't
right
they have
next to
to
it.
come to us with that too? Like, I mean,
Good, but maybe they won't.
I would think they would have to come to us with that sign too. I mean,
Yeah,
right now, we're just saying the signs that you want on the side of your building and your drive-through sign is, all that they're gonna get. They're not gonna get anything else other than that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
yes,
Everything
yeah.
but 15, yeah. And then when they need this bigger sign, which I think the way he's talking, the bigger sign is not just the Dollarama and everything. It's the beer store sign, it's the whole shooting match, is it not?
It'll be fun to fly.
But it might have to be set, we'd have to make sure it's set well back in somehow or, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, I just said to replace the beer store sign as a collective sign for that whole area. It might be the best way to do that.
Anyway.
Can I make a suggestion? If council has questions like this, can we filter them through Haley, our bylaw officer, who can ask them to the priority permits contact Jason? And then perhaps a report can come back clarifying council's concerns about the sign specifically, because I don't know the structure, but I'm not sure Jason has anything to do with the entrances. I think he's just here for the signs. So, but if there's I know they're wrapped up in a way, but if there's questions about that, we can filter it through Haley and then it can be brought back for a decision from council. Does that work?
I think that, needless to say, the sign issue is a big issue. But bigger issue is, and it's not, I guess it's not our responsibility, Murray, but the county, the road 21. I mean, somehow something's gonna have to be changed there with some lanes. If it's gonna stay the way it is right now with the amount of traffic that's gonna be going in and out of there, so. I guess, we needless to say, we'll be down there tomorrow. We better.
Yeah, well, I'm well aware, I'm not that stupid, that there's a difference between the signs and the entrance. But I'm trying to use every lever I can to put pressure on the county to do the best they can to make this better. So if I can go down there with a list of things and say, let me see your entrance permit. And which he apparently can't find. And where's the sign going to go? Is the sign going to go, 20 feet from Hops Drive or 10 feet from Hops Drive, or where's it going to go? So I mean, I can just throw my hands up and just let happen what happened, but that's not the right thing for Dysart, I can tell you that.
Oh, no, I agree with you. I mean, yeah, that's not, we gotta do the best that we can to make it as safe as we can. Yeah, I do totally agree with that, so. Well, I think Tammy, what he's saying is, maybe it's not under control, but at least if we take some recommendations, if Murray takes them and Walt take them to the county, we can say at least we are trying to make it better, so. Yeah.
Work that one to death. We got another issue that we have to deal with, I think, this year, and we need Rob at some point to bring something forward. Silver Beach is in terrible shape. Any of you been down there? It's eroded under the beach. There's clay under the sand, of course. And this winter, there was a strip about as wide as this building, open water, 3 weeks ago, right across the lake. I don't know what would cause that. Maybe you guys do. But and the whole shoreline down there, they've washed it out to the point that the trees are going to start falling in the lake. So we've got to figure out some way of putting stone in there, or and it's not going to be cheap.
Do we want to work on a notice of motion for when we come out of closed to direct staff to bring back something? Murray, do you want to do that, or?
Yeah, or else I think
I can just talk to them probably.
Okay, sounds
America
good.
talked. And the last one is we have to go forward with somebody to design a RFP on the 93 acres. We have to start thinking about what we're going to do there. We've got it. No, it's not on the agenda, but it's public. Yeah. Well, okay. All right. I guess I'm used to doing business another way, but yeah. But anyway, it's something that we bought, and we need to find somebody to sit on a committee is all I'm trying to do.
Yeah, I'm all for that. There's a bunch of government grants coming out for sewer, water and infrastructure and everything else. And we should be on that bandwagon as quick as we can. Sure.
I thought Pat Kennedy also had somebody interested in helping us with some grants and stuff too, he told me. For this program down there.
I know Paul Wilson has somebody.
Pat Casey.
And Adam
Pat
Grant
Kennedy, I mean, told me he had
has
somebody as
somebody.
well.
We can get grants. That's not the problem. We need a project to get the grants for, but we know how to get grants once they're available, for sure.
So, okay, so what do we need to do? We need to get a committee
We
going?
need to
here?
get a committee set up. Which is not doing anything today, but get the committee with Tamara and I don't know who else you want on there. And decide what the RFP should look like.
Just to do some initial brainstorming, perhaps to get some ideas on how to RFP it.
Yeah, I will too.
Yeah, so Barry and Pat and Walt. Yeah, okay, that's good. All right. Anything else? Okay, I guess we're going to adjourn and go into closed session. It is 12 o'clock.
Okay, be it resolved that council adjourn its regular meeting at 12:07 PM to discuss matters pursuant to section 239(2) of the Municipal Act as amended pertaining to 1, a proposed disposition of land in the township of Dudley, road allowance disposition. 2, a proposed acquisition of land in the township of Havelock, Kinesis Lake landfill contamination attenuation zone. 3, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, which is a summary of current insurance claims. And 4, information explicitly is supplied in confidence to the municipality or local board by Canada, a province or territory, or a crown agency of any of them, which is an update on a property standards file.
Okay, mover and seconder is, okay, Carmen, Pat, all in favor? Carry. Okay, so we're going to adjourn the well, I know it's not closed, but Rob, that information you've got on where people got an RFP on sewage plants and what it actually cost when they did it, could you
Murray, you're on camera, just so you know.
could you circulate that down?
You can go.
Collingwood was like $40 million more than engineers. 40 million. Huntsville. I know.
Okay, so I've got a resolution out of closed here. So that's the estimate of market value for Musquaby Lake, adjacent to the lands of Cotier and Fearing and Rempel. So I'll read it here. Be it resolved that council approves the estimate of market value of John Parish dated February 15, 2024, with respect to part of the road allowance between lots 15 and 16, concession 3, in the geographic township of Dudley, shown as parts 1 to 4 on the preliminary plan of survey. The purchase price of the lands is set at $75,000. Be it resolved that council approves the estimate of market value from John Parish dated February 15, 2024, with respect to part of the road allowance between lots 15 and 16, concession 3 in the geographic township of Dudley, shown as parts 5 to 14 on the preliminary plan of survey. The purchase price of the lands is set at $40,000.
Okay, mover and seconder. Pat and Nancy, all in favor? Carry. Next.
Next is confirming. Are we ready for confirming?
Yeah, are we ready? Is there anything else? You want to leave already?
Yeah.
Barry starved to death there.
Okay, I'll read it. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2024-30, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the regular council meeting held on March 26, 2024, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Mover and seconder. Carmen, Barry, all in favor? Carry.
Okay, and then we're ready for adjournment.
Adjournment.
So be it resolved that council adjourn its regular meeting held on March 26, 2024 at 1:43 PM.
Mover and seconder. Walt and Pat, all in favor? Carry.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.